lovely Monday morning. Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. You know, Griffin, I was asked someone last week if we would ever consider bringing back the silly opens to the show, which I didn't put on you because that was really
Kyle's.
Yeah, it was really Kyle's thing, and Paul tried to keep it alive, but it was very much Kyle's thing. I would be open to listening to some ideas for the open of the show. I no pun intended, I'd be open. Blah, blah, blah. I'm all ears for a pitch on what we could do. I don't know that it should be the exact same thing. Maybe it is, I don't know exactly, but I'm listening. I'm listening on possible ideas for what we could do in regards to mixing up, changing a little bit the way that we open the show every day. All right,
so
got
I'm
going to let you think about that.
Yeah, I'll brainstorm some stuff.
The way that it works in sports radio is that technically, you know how it's a new season of Married with Children, or it's a new season of whatever TV show it is that you want. Of course, I went with the hippest one, the newest, the one all the kids are talking about. Married with Children. I don't know why. That was the first thing that came to mind. Hey, brain, think of a TV show. Best I can do is 25 years ago. If that. I don't even know when they ended Married with Children. Hey, bro. This thing up here. Sometimes, it's chugging along. Other times. So the way it works in this business is that you would say a new season of the show starts on the Tuesday after Labor Day because it's the first day of a game week in NFL season because, of course, our calendar works around the NFL calendar. That's what matters most around here, although it's been nice that baseball has mattered a great deal here in Baltimore this season. But that's the way it works. A season of a sports radio show, you would say, lines up with when you get to week 1 of the NFL season. And because we don't do shows on Labor Day, that means that Tuesday of week 1 is when we launch a new season. So I would say between now and what is that date? That might be my birthday, actually. It must be my birthday.
The 5th or the 6th?
It is indeed Tuesday, September 6th. Of course, your pal's 39th birthday. I would say that if we come up with something, we could test it out, but then we have it full-fledged, ready to go for that week.
Day. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I got a lot of time.
Almost. Well, but I want to try it out beforehand.
Okay, got it.
We're not going to try it on the 6th and be like, hey, this sucks. All right.
Anything I come up with? No.
Anyway. So I did get that request. I don't remember who made it, but I heard it and I appreciate it, and I'm listening on doing something. I don't think it's going to be doing the exact same thing. I think we need to mix it up a little bit. All right. It is a Monday edition of the program. Coming up on the program today, Austin Hayes is going to join us. Of course, Orioles outfielder. He's had a lovely season. On top of that, he's doing something really cool for the community, and we're going to talk to him about that and the magical run the Orioles have been on. Austin Hayes joins us a little bit later on. Also this morning, Darryl Hill, trailblazer, man who broke the color barrier in the ACC, and he will now be headed into the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame, which seems overdue, but again, it's just sort of a weird way that things work. We were talking to Stan about that on Friday. Stan's part of the board for the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame. But Darryl Hill will join us a little bit later on. Actually, that's coming up in just a few minutes. And it's Monday, so Jeremy Conn will check in with us as he always does on a Monday. All of that coming up on the program today. Today's show brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Bet pads are coming just in time for football season. There is still time for you to reserve your spot to host your fantasy football draft Labor Day weekend, week 1 of college football season. So many big games going on, local teams in action. You could be hanging out in the FanDuel Sportsbook, eating delicious food from Sports and Social, drafting your fantasy football league, being thankful that you're alive, and winning money betting games, and you don't even have to get up off your keister in order to do it because you're going to have bet pads available on top of those 61 self-service kiosks. I don't know why it is that you haven't already sent the email to events@sportssocialmd.com. No offense to whatever it is that your league does. I'm sure it's lovely. Y'all get around, sit in the backyard at your friend's house because his wife hates you. Whatever it is that you're doing, going to the local wing store, pretending like you all still like it. Oh yeah, this place is still great. We love this place. Because you haven't grown up from when you were Griffin's age. No offense.
That's not a bad thing.
No offense, Griffin. No offense. There were a lot of us that thought that certain places were great when we were 20. And all of a sudden we were like, wow, what are we doing with our lives? Why are we still here? Whatever it is that your plans are.
I'm never going to feel like that.
Yeah, you are. I promise you that's the case. I promise you will. Anyway, the moral of the story being, of course, you should be in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Monday morning tradition. They're cutting the grass right outside the window. There's a lot of things that I like about the new place. Gotta see if we can't do something about that. Cutting the grass right outside the window. We got
right at 10 a.m. sharp as well.
Oh God! Right? They couldn't get here at 7. Of course, they have to do it at 10. That's the way it's got to be. All right. So Orioles take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. Obviously, the disappointing part being they didn't get a sweep when they seemed to have an opportunity. Everything was shaping up well yesterday. The Orioles were up 1-0. Spencer Watkins was cruising. The Rays and the Tigers were scoreless. Rita and I were doing our show on the Fan. And in the studio, we have 3 TVs, and the middle one was on the Orioles game. The right one was on the Rays game. And I'm like, oh, my God. Could you imagine? I could leave here today with the Orioles tied for the final wild card spot. This would be unbelievable. And then, of course, the Orioles gave up 1 billion runs, and the Rays scored 1 billion runs. The Rays scored, 7 runs in the 9th inning?
Yes, 7 runs with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
And they hadn't scored a run all day.
Yeah, I think that was like the second time that's ever happened in the history of baseball. That that they broke a scoreless tie with 7 straight runs with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
For those of you that weren't listening, 1, shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. But 2, you can blame Jerry Coleman for what occurred yesterday, as we had promised. Jerry was supposed to come on with us last week, so we promised him he could come on with us this week. And when we were coming back from break with Jerry on hold, I looked up at Rita and I said, hey, do you realize what's going on? She was like, I was like, Spencer Watkins is perfect going into the 5th inning.
Oh, then you brought Jerry on.
I was like, we can't talk about it, though. Like, what do we do here? So I came back from break having fun with her. I'm like, Rita, there's something happening. Do we talk about it? And she's like, no, of course we don't talk about it. I'm like, all right, we don't talk about it. So then I'm like, what do you think Jerry's going to say? And so we bring him up, pull him up off a hold. Hey, Jerry, good morning. What, that Spencer Watkins is throwing a no-hitter? And I swear to Christ, I swear, Griffin, within 2 seconds, 4 straight hits.
Wow.
I mean, like, Jerry says those words, and not a second later, the infield hit that started everything. So it's not the Orioles' fault what happened yesterday. Jerry Coleman's fault.
Wow.
What? Spencer Watkins? I can't.
That's your Jerry impression?
I've had really good Jerry impressions over the years, and then I realized at one point my Jerry impression was also Bert from Sesame Street, because I was doing a lot of voices for my kids when they were babies and they were into Sesame Street, and I was like, oh no, Ernie, like, and it was just like, oh God, I'm just doing my Coleman. That's all I'm doing. I've gotten out of the impression game. It's just, my impressions just aren't good enough. I got out of the game a long time ago. So yeah, blame Jerry for that. Look, it's a disappointment because you were so close. I could taste it. I could taste being tied for the final playoff spot. I was so excited. Instead, you're back to being 2 games back. Now, that being said, it was still a lovely weekend, and Saturday night was unbelievable. I mean, it was electric. Just the thing that I've been talking about, where, like, if we could just get a meaningful September baseball game, I'm not saying this replaces that, right, because it's not quite the same, and because obviously it was quite gimmicked in order for us to get there, right? Like, there was a concert, there was a T-shirt giveaway, there were all these legends that were coming back. There's a lot of things they did to gimmick it up to get that insane crowd. But still, if the Orioles stunk, there would have been 25,000 people there. There wouldn't have been 40,000 people there. I couldn't believe. I wanted it injected into my veins. When I walked into the stadium on Saturday, I'm like, oh my God, this is what makes you feel alive. This is the point of being a sports fan, is you get to feel these feelings. A moment where you're breathing it in and it's real and it's amazing. Now, I would like for that to come on Labor Day weekend. I would like for that to come. I want a meaningful September baseball game. And the Orioles have a difficult schedule ahead of them in order to stay in this thing and stay relevant in the wild card race. But they've stayed relevant, and they've been the best team in the American League East for a while. So there's no reason for me to think they can't do that. It's just difficult. I was enamored with the feeling that existed in Baltimore this weekend. I know Stan was on Twitter this morning, asking for crowds to show up for weeknight games. I think it'd be great. One thing to keep in mind, the Orioles have really gimmicked the weekends. They have not necessarily gimmicked the weeknight games. It used to be the exact opposite of that. I don't know when that change happened. It used to be that you could count on big crowds on the weekends, so you gimmicked the weeknight games in order to get people out there. At some point, it feels like teams kind of gave up on the idea that
doing anything promotional.
They just sort of accepted the fact that crowds were going to exist on the weekends and not on weeknights. So let's just get the biggest crowds that we possibly can on the weekends, and kind of for the most. And I'm saying punt is the wrong way of describing it, but there's not there's 3 games against the Blue Jays. There's not any sort of promotion. I'm not just talking about giveaways. There's not like a youth night or a LGBTQ plus night or a Christian night or something like that. There's nothing. There's nothing during this week, and that doesn't mean they should have to gimmick everything. They shouldn't have to always have events every night. Although, in fairness, it feels like you could. Mm-hmm. It really does. Between the number of giveaways, the number of whatever it is, it feels like you really could do something like that. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to come off negatively about it. I think Stan's point is well taken, which is it would be nice, given where the Orioles are in a playoff race, to have bigger crowds. Obviously, they're not going to be 40,000, but bigger crowds for weeknight games. But I speak on behalf of a lot of us in this community where, I'm just at a place in my life where I don't really go out on school nights anymore. It's got to be something extraordinary for me to go out on a school night, like Rage Against the Machine, touring for the first time in 20 years or whatever it's been. I know I'm not alone. It's easy to say, hey, I'll go to the game on a Saturday because it's a Saturday. It's not nearly as easy for me to say that on a Tuesday. Now, if I'm at a place with the Orioles now where if somebody pushed me and said, hey, bud, I'm thinking about going to the game on Wednesday. Would you go with me? I'd be more inclined to say yes, although, I'm not promising you. Now I'm worried that somebody's actually going to do that, and I feel bad when I say, I'm not going to do it. I would think about it. That's how excited I am about the Orioles. But, yeah, I get it. I get wanting there to be some bigger crowds during the week, and not just for these weekend series, but it kind of seems like the Orioles themselves aren't that concerned about it, or they'd probably be doing more things to try to get people to come. I know they did do, obviously, the whatever they call the thing where you can buy a ticket that gets you into all the games. Oh, right, yeah, the $40. I don't remember what it's called, yeah, but that. That's a good promotion, mm-hmm. and hopefully people took advantage of that and got their fast pass or whatever it is, and they look around and they say, it's Monday night. I can go to this game if I want. I've got this pass. Hell yeah, I'm going to the game. I hope that's the case. I'm not going to call it a critical series, but as I keep saying, sort of all of these feel meaningful when you're trying to stick around, and particularly when you're playing a team that's ahead of you in the standings, and you have an opportunity to do some damage, as the Orioles do against the Blue Jays this week. I think it's unreasonable to expect a sweep, but imagine if you did. Now you'd suddenly be within a game of the Jays, whatever happens with Tampa. There's a big opportunity in front of you this week to seriously make a statement at home. Also, by the way, the Jays are kind of an exciting team. They do have Vlad Guerrero in there, but they are an exciting team.
I was very disappointed on Saturday night that O'Neal Cruz wasn't playing shortstop.
Oh, he DH'd, right?
Yeah. He DH'd. So I was like, I want to see this guy.
Yeah. God, he can hit the ball a ton. Brian Hayes is a nice little player. I told you, I think the Pirates are compelling. Yeah, they're on their way. That play that Brian Hayes made on Saturday night, which again didn't worry too much because the Orioles won the game anyway. I was like, hell, I mean, I was clapping. I was like, dude, that's amazing. He's looking around at me. I'm like, look, bro, respect. It's a hell of a play. Not quite as good as the double play that Jorge Mateo turned. That was a thing of beauty. That was.
Man.
But you know, it's what it is. The Orioles go into this week with a big opportunity in front of them as they open up a 3-game set against the Blue Jays. They currently sit in the wild card race 2 games back of the Rays because they lost yesterday, and the Rays did bounce back to win. They are tied with the Guardians at 56 and 52. So keep that in mind as well. And by the way, it's the Rays and the Mariners now. They're essentially tied for the final wild card spot. They don't have the same record. The Rays are 58 and 50. The Mariners are 59 and 51, but they're so close in winning percentage. In the standings, they're just listed as tied. So you could say the Orioles are 1 game back in the loss column of the Mariners, and you know that. I don't know if that makes you feel better. I don't know what that does. But they're also 4 games back of the Blue Jays for the first wild card spot, with an opportunity to make a dent in all of that during the course of the week. That series gets underway tonight at Camden Yards, as the Orioles will have Jordan Lyles on the mound against Yusei Kikuchi. And yes, I always giggle whenever I say Kikuchi, and I'm ashamed that I do that, but it's not going to change anytime soon. I'm going to giggle every time that man pitches. I'm so very, very sorry. I am perpetually 3 years old. There's just nothing we can do about that. So yeah, what a weekend it was. I know I heard from a lot of people, a lot of disappointment. A lot of people were hoping there was going to be like a surprise Adam Jones appearance, that, you know, the team and he kind of got together like, hey, we're not going to tell anybody. And all of a sudden, and now, like, I get it. I'm bummed out about that too. I'm just going to continue to say the same things. You guys know I have written about it. I've talked about it ad nauseum. Obviously, Adam was on with Rita and I months ago, and that's kind of what got everybody all hot and bothered. I'm just going to keep saying the same things. Just get it fixed. Just get it fixed. I'm not worried about whose fault it was. I'm not worried about what phone call needed to come when. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I'm worried about organizations sitting down and saying, hey, man, how do we fix this? We're sorry. Whatever it is, we would really like to. What can we do for you? How can we show you that we love you and we want you here and we want you to be a part of this family and we want you in the fold? How do we fix this? And I don't know what that answer is. I've got a couple ideas. Not things that I'm going to choose to talk about. Got a couple ideas on how it could be fixed. And I know that there have been, to be fair, I know that there have been at least overtures made in an attempt to fix it. As I said before, I certainly understand that if Adam Jones feels as though the only reason he was invited to this anniversary celebration this weekend was because there was public pressure put on the club, then he would be within his right to say, yeah, I don't know that I think you really wanted me here as much as you felt like you had to invite me. I think we've all been there in certain circumstances, and it's just kind of awkward. So let's work on that. Let's prioritize that. I am mad. This was not the end of the world. It was a celebration of a stadium, not a celebration of a person. So it's okay. I can live with the fact that Adam Jones wasn't there. Frankly, I got to be honest with you, I didn't really care who was there. You were celebrating a stadium. He's getting all weirded out by why is Jay Gibbons there? Who cares? Why not? Mike Messina was there. That's cool. Eddie Murray was there. That's cool. Brooks Robinson was talking to the team before the game. That's amazing. Those things matter. This doesn't. Really. This doesn't really matter. But it matters that Adam Jones feels welcome. It matters that Adam Jones feels like he's still part of the family. It matters that Adam Jones needs to be here at some point, whenever that might be. And so that's the part. I can live. I really can. I really can live with the fact that he wasn't there for this weekend, because it was weird. It wasn't, we're bringing back all of the best players in Orioles history. It was sort of an arbitrary group. Would it have been neat? Absolutely would have been neat. But it's okay. We'll live. But now let's make sure it doesn't happen again. Let's make sure that we fix this moving forward. I would have been more disappointed if this had been a 10th anniversary celebration of the spectacular 2012 season, which, by the way, if I'm being completely honest, I think would have been more warranted than I think people would have been more excited about that than the 30th anniversary of a stadium. With no disrespect to the stadium, I just think that would have been more exciting because we have more emotional feels for that team. It was so unexpected what they did. It came so out of nowhere. If we celebrate the anniversary of the Why Not team that didn't make the playoffs, why wouldn't we celebrate the anniversary of the team that did? And I get it. It's not apples to apples. The Why Not team didn't have the opportunity of getting a wild card. To me, there's more justification to say, hey, look, we did the wrong thing this year. We should have done an anniversary celebration of that. And, yeah, I guess it would have been tough because you couldn't get Buck there. He's a little bit busy. Couldn't get Manny there. He's a little bit busy. But a lot of the other guys available now. That would have been a neat thing to do. I hope in the future, I hope maybe in 2027, we start celebrating that team, or the 2014 team maybe in 2 years. Something like that would be neat. All right. Today's show is also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today. Well, last week we were talking to you about the new class of the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame. Joining us now, a man who will be inducted into the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame, and just so happens to be that he's also a board member. And I was talking to Stan about that. Stan the fan was like, it's maybe the reason why it's taken so long is because you're inducting one of your own, but to say it's well-deserved wouldn't even begin to describe it. To say it's overdue wouldn't even begin to describe it. This man, of course, is a trailblazer, a legend, and now a Maryland State Athletics Hall of Famer as well. He is the great Darryl Hill, and he's with us here on GCR. Darryl, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, sir. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations to you.
Well, thank you, Glenn, very much. I appreciate the call, and happy to talk to you and your listeners.
Well, you have been recognized by a lot of people over the years. You have received quite a few honors. Your name's on buildings, of course. What does this one mean to you, the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame? And knowing you're a man who's received a lot of honors, what makes this one unique?
Well, I first of all, I'm a native Marylander. And secondly, I'm really proud of the university for the steps they took in basically opening the doors for people of color, particularly African Americans, to play sports in college football. So, Maryland took the lead on that, and it took a while, but the others followed. So that means more to me than the personal accolades there. I was just thinking, as you were calling, that I was also the first African American to play football
in Navy, right?
Navy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a double hitter there.
It's a great point. It's a great point, Darryl. And by the way, what you said really strikes me is that you feel like it's, as much as somebody's going to say it's a personal honor, that you now feel like what Maryland did, and maybe let's say what Navy did too, is also being represented within the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame.
Oh, I think absolutely. I think Maryland deserved this honor as much as I did, and Navy as well. Neither one of them ever flinched against a lot of controversy. My playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference was extremely controversial. Some of the southern schools, such as Clemson and University of South Carolina, who was an ACC member at the time, threatened to leave the conference if they follow through and offer me a scholarship. But Maryland said, you got to do what you got to do, but he's coming.
Wow. It's a story we need to hear. It's you know what, Darryl, I'm going to tell you, I was talking, I'm sure you know Chick Hernandez, who's a local TV personality here, and Chick.
Quite well. That's my good buddy.
Love Chick, one of the good guys. And he and I just happened to be together at an event last week, and my wife was there, and he was telling me a story about his wife. And I didn't know this about Chick, that he and his wife, they had to break up at one point when they were dating because her family didn't approve of her dating a man who wasn't white. And I said, Chick, this is critical because I'm sitting across from I got a kid who's 23 that works with me, and it might be hard for people that age to understand we are really not that far removed from these things. Like that your story still matters because it's important to understand this wasn't 100 years ago. This was not that long ago that you had to do this. How important is it for you to continue telling that story?
Well, that gets down to when I talk to the younger people, they can't relate to it. And the younger they are, the more incredulous they are. It couldn't have been like that. What do you mean? And that's what radiates to me with the Jones Hill house. So it's a building. It's going to be there long after your radio show, newspaper articles, and everything else has passed along. That building will still stand, and after I pass, it'll still be there. So it's a sign, a signal to young people of what it meant, and and when they ask why or who are these guys, Billy Jones and Darryl Hill, who are on this building, what do they mean to the university? And once told a story, I think is inspirational from that point of view. So I like it, and I'm proud of it. And Billy said, we'll be gone, but the building will still be there.
That's right. So. That's right. It was perfect. It was the absolute right thing for the school to do, and I'm so glad they did it. Darryl Hill is with us. He's going into the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame. Darryl, the second part of it, right? This is an organization that you've been involved with for some time, and I'm sure there's a little bit of you that's like, well, I don't need to be trying to push myself to get into the Hall of Fame. That's not the way that this works. But just because of your involvement with the group and how many people maybe you've had a hand with getting in, does that make this particular honor a little bit more personal?
Well, of course, and it was sort of a delicate situation. I was on the board and on the nominating committee. Of nominating myself or having someone nominate me and go through that. And when I first got there, I thought that the board was a bit lopsided. There were some glaring absences. Not on the board that should have been, particularly for minority athletes. So my job was not to push Darryl Hill in, but to put Lenny Moore in the Hall of Fame and Big Daddy Lipscomb in the Hall of Fame, and other great players, Lenny Bias this year, for example. So my objective was, to get the balance here in the Hall of Fame, and I think I achieved that. As part of the committee, I pushed, to have some balance here, and all of our board members were completely in tune with me and in step with me on that effort. So
you mentioned Len Bias. That's got to be a special thing too, right? That again, someone overwhelmingly deserved. Timing had to be right. Took a little while, but this is a recognition he needed to get, and I got to imagine that's a special thing for you to be going in with him.
Oh, I couldn't be more proud. I'm going in with two Maryland legends. Three actually. So Len Bias, I always thought it was a travesty that he made a mistake as a kid. Any kid can make. Do you denigrate him for that or not? Put him in, give him the due recognition? Of course not. So. I pushed. pushed the university to put Lynn in the University of Maryland Hall of Fame, and certainly was a strong supporter here for the State Hall of Fame. So I'm pleased that he's gotten by that hurdle, and people have gotten over, I think the misplaced angst that they had, about a mistake that a kid made, at age 20.
I couldn't agree. I could not agree more, Darryl. It is the absolute right thing to do. There's no question about it. Darryl Hill is with us. He will be headed into the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame. The induction ceremony is October 13th. You can get your tickets and be a part of it. Go to mdsahof.com in order to find out more. Darryl, it's interesting. I was reading David Steele has a new book out, and it was called It's Always a Choice. It's about athlete activism and how things have really sprung up over the last 6 years. Not just Colin Kaepernick, but in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd, the way that athletes have used their voices. What has it meant to you as a true trailblazer in sports to see young athletes recognize the platform they have, what they were given because of folks that came ahead of them, folks like yourself, and to step up and to speak out and to do the things that you've seen a number of prominent athletes do over the course of the last 5 or 6 years?
Well, I thought it was long overdue, frankly. These young men and women, they have the ear and the admiration of the American public, and I think they should, as they're doing now, use that platform for the betterment of society. So to have them, it was always sort of this sort of reticence on some part of some athletes. Because it could adversely affect possibly their endorsements and other income, and so they kind of walked a thin line. But finally, they just pulled up their britches and said, "Hey, we're going to do this."
Well, obviously, it cost Colin Kaepernick his career, right? Like, he was blackballed from the league because of it, and that's the price you have to pay. But it's interesting in reading David's book. If everybody speaks up, if everybody stands together, you can't get rid of everybody. It can't work that way.
There it is. There's strength. There's strength in numbers. And so once they started moving in that direction, then of course other athletes felt more comfortable about it, and there's still a ways to go. They can continue. I think that it is a platform that's available, and they should use it. An interesting story about that. Clemson University, and that was when I went down there, the head coach Frank Howard at Clemson said if he comes here in the Death Valley, he won't go out in one piece. Mm-hmm. It was that kind of thing, and they invited me down for the 50-year anniversary, and after the event, I was watching a game in the president's booth, and there was a gentleman there, a businessman, and he said, Darryl, I was in the stands that day when you came down here to play. He said hatred is difficult. He said, how can I cheer for a guy on Sunday, because he plays with the Falcons, and then hate him on Monday? So I think that sports has a leveling factor, and those who in the limelight can and should use that platform. That's my opinion.
I think that's a powerful story to continue to share, Darryl. I'm glad that your voice is still being heard, so that young people can understand what it is that you went through, and by the way, what a day you had down at Clemson that day. What a day it proved to be once upon a time. Darryl, before I let you go, if I could, just, obviously your name's on the building now. Maryland's got this great new facility, and I think all of us like Mike Locksley and believe in what he's doing. It is a really tough job because you got to go up against Ohio State and Penn State and Michigan every year, but what do you make of the direction of the program, and what have you thought about the job that Mike Locksley has done since he came home to Maryland?
Well, I think Locks is on schedule to put Maryland, back in the upper echelon college football. I think they really have a good team this year and should do well. The Big Ten's tough territory, and you got to be ready every week. There are no softies in that league, and it's getting worse. They're adding, the West Coast team. So Locke's got his challenges, but he knows his business, and he not only is a great coach, but he's, a A1 paramount recruiter. So he's doing the job, I think, that always needed to be done here. If Maryland, University of Maryland, could just retain its regional athletes in both football and basketball, especially basketball, they would be, highly ranked year in and year out. So Mike's working in that direction. He's making the young kids feel like staying and playing at home is worthwhile, and I'm with him. So I'm looking for a good year this year.
I love everything about that. Darryl Hill, he'll be part of the class inducted into the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame with Len Bias, Dave Cottle, the great Leon Day, Fred McNair, Marty West, Carl Runk, and, of course, one Gary Williams, all going into the Hall of Fame on October 13th, mdsahof.com in order to find out more. Darryl Hill, a pleasure as always. It's a joy whenever I get to talk to you, sir. Thank you for taking the time for us. You are truly a legend, my friend.
I appreciate the accolades, and thank you for having me.
The great Darryl Hill joining us on GCR, the man who broke the color barrier in the ACC. And every time you get an opportunity to talk to Darryl Hill, truthfully, I have, I get chills a little bit because you're legitimately talking to a hero. You're legitimately talking to someone who changed the world. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take it for granted. There are things that I've been able to do in my life because of this career, and getting opportunities to talk to somebody like Darryl Hill rank up there. And he's always been available and means the world. Very happy for Darryl Hill, and a great thing to have him inducted into the Maryland State Athletic Hall of Fame. An interesting note that he made about keeping talent local. Some good news for Kevin Willard this weekend as a kid from Northern Virginia. Jamie Kaiser Jr., four-star recruit, thought to be a top 100 kid in the country. Local prospect has committed. He is going to come to Maryland. He chose Maryland over Indiana and Virginia among his finalists. There were other schools like UCLA that had been in the mix during the course. This was a very highly sought-after kid, and one that Kevin Willard got in on, and his staff, Tony Skinn, got in on, and they were able to keep, we'll call it local. I know it's a bit weird, right, because Northern Virginia is part of the DMV. It's always been a little bit odd, uniquely with Maryland. This goes back to the dumb people that say dumb things like, it might as well be the University of D.C. Well, I don't know if you've seen the flag that they have. That has nothing to do with D.C. I'm not sure if you're aware. The word that's written across the jersey, it has nothing to do with D.C. or Virginia. So it's always been kind of complicated when we talk about, D.C. or Virginia kids as being local kids, because I've never known what their connection they felt with the University of Maryland. It was easy for me growing up here to feel a connection with Maryland because that's the flag I like. That says Maryland on it. That's the state I'm from. There's a connection there. I don't feel a connection with the Washington Capitals or the Washington Wizards because I'm not from Washington, and it says Washington on their sweater. So I've said this a billion times. The people that lazily are like, well, they're closer to D.C. than I know what it says on the sweater. It says Maryland. So I've never known what the connection was for kids from D.C. For some of them, it seems like they feel a real connection to the University of Maryland. For others, it has felt like, I don't know, I'm not a Maryland person. Yeah, it's a school nearby that I could go to if I wanted to stay local. So I've never assumed, I think kids from PG County probably have a good reason to feel a strong connection to the University of Maryland. Just, of course, why they were able to land Kevin Durant all those years ago. They nailed that one. That makes sense. Kids from D.C., kids from Northern Virginia, I've never known. I've never known inherently if the same connection existed, because why would you grow up loving the Maryland flag? Why would you grow up with that type of connection? So I don't think these things are the given that some people want them to be. We're like, you should just get all of these kids. It's an awkward spot to be in. Similarly, if you're a kid growing up in Baltimore, you might say, like, school's an hour away. I don't feel a connection to it. Again, I did because of the flag. I did because of the word Maryland. I think a lot of us around here, I know a lot of us around here do, but not everybody. So it's a little bit awkward in that way. They had to do some work. They landed a big recruit. It was great news for Kevin Willard as he's trying to establish himself and what he's trying to put together at Maryland as a coach to get a priority local prospect that everyone around the country was trying to get, I think goes a long way. I think it's a strong statement for Kevin Willard as he's getting his footing, that he is not losing out on the first kids that are real priorities. I think that's a huge, huge start for him as the head coach at the University of Maryland. Obviously, winning games is far more important. Winning games in the NCAA tournament will be what he's judged by, but we don't have any games yet to judge him by. We only have these things to judge him by. And this was a big get. Jamie Kaiser, who I think is going to join us tomorrow on GCR. I believe that's going to be the case. Still trying to nail that down, but I think Jamie Kaiser will be with us on GCR tomorrow to talk about coming to the University of Maryland. All right, Austin Hayes is going to join us in a few minutes. We will chat with him and a couple things from the weekend that I wanted to get to. I did like this from Matt Torper. Matt Torper checked in with me this morning, said Saturday was about more than just baseball. It was feeling like you were a part of a real community in Baltimore, maybe for the first time since COVID for some people. That's the thing I'm talking about. When I talk about injecting into my veins, you can win a baseball game, you can have a neat moment. The thing that I said I'm going to judge success by is getting that feeling back. That's why I said I'm starting to feel greedy. Like, I really like it for there to be playoffs in baseball or playoff baseball in Baltimore this year. But what I said was I'm not going to singularly judge success for this team by getting to the playoffs. To me, success was about giving me that feeling again, that this was real, that it was alive. And I had that feeling on Saturday night. Again, I acknowledge it's a bit gimmicked. And it would be more real on, say, Labor Day if maybe I'll check the promotional schedule and see if there is a promotion on Labor Day.
I feel like they probably give away a shirt, I would think.
Yeah, but if it's just a shirt, that's
right.
not.
It's not
right.
a whole lot.
I wouldn't call it gimmicked at that point if it was a 40,000 plus crowd for one shirt giveaway.
It is one shirt. 15,000 fans.
It doesn't even say what shirt it is, though.
Guess they'll make it up when they get there.
It just says Orioles T-shirt.
It'll be the Why Not 2022 Orioles
Yeah, whatever
t-shirt.
it is. Like, fine. And by the way, again, fine. Or maybe they're purposely waiting to call Gunnar Henderson up on that day so they can do the Gunnar Henderson T-shirt like they did the Adley Rutschman T-shirt when he got called up. I don't know. Whatever it is, if 40,000 people show up that day, there aren't 10,000 of them that were there because there was a concert afterwards. And I don't know what the number was on Saturday night of people that came there because – and not even just – I do think it's important. On Saturday night, the people that were there were into the game. Mm-hmm. They were all in their orange. It was a wonderful – I mean, again, I was breathing it in and just happy to be alive. That it felt real on Saturday night. So I'm not trying to dismiss it just because of the concert. But I do think there were plenty of people that might not have gone had there not been a concert. The concert was what pushed them over the edge. Oh, yeah, I am excited about the Orioles. Oh, and there's a concert afterwards? And okay, I'll do all of that. You get 40,000 people there on Labor Day, they're going to be there because of the Orioles. Mm-hmm. So that's still that's the thing for me. I'm still holding Labor Day up as the one. But boy, did I feel it on Saturday. All right, lot to get to. We'll come back in. It's GCR. Summer is in full swing, and so is the summer seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash fried pork belly with their popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and try their South Carolina barbecue chicken, or backed by popular demand, the lobster roll with grilled corn. Also try the irresistible crab and lobster fries, or the very berry salad with chicken. And for dessert, the Cracker Jack sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be gone. Find out more and get your order in at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a wide range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Visit Howard County presents the 2022 Major League Quidditch Championship, a Harry Potter-inspired, real-life, full-contact, mixed-gender, 12-team Quidditch tournament happening at Troy Park in Elkridge, August 20th through the 22nd. For tickets and more information, go to visithowardcounty.com. Maryland, be open for it.
Don't forget that full episodes of the show are available for free on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. But warning, you get what you pay for. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, back in here on GCR. Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley are back at it tonight. If you missed them chatting with Tim Kirkshin last week, you got to make sure you head to Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, PressBoxOnline.com/video, or YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. It can all be found there. Stan the Fan, Ross talking baseball every Monday, and then Stan and Gary Stein do their shows every week as well. I got a column coming today at PressBoxOnline.com, and it starts by reflecting on what I felt on Saturday night, because I really did. Every now and then I have that moment. I've talked about this in a number of instances where I feel like I'm experiencing something very real. When Gervonta Davis fought at the arena a couple years ago, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I decided I wanted to go just to see it, and then I did not truly understand, admittedly, particularly the connection between Gervonta Davis and our city's black community. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. It was something real, which is to take nothing away from other events that are nice events and fun events. But I use this word real because I can't come up with another way to describe it. Like, something's happening, and it's more significant than other things that I've experienced. I've been to other Orioles games. Saturday night was something more than that. It was... Boy, it gave you chills, you know? Like, this is happening. There are this many people in the ballpark excited about the Orioles, about baseball. So the column starts off that way. But then it dovetails into a different topic, and it's one that I've alluded to here. And because what I do traditionally is give away my Monday column on this show, but I still ask you to go click on it anyway. Whatever happens the rest of the way, and you know I've said, hey, look, I don't need it to be the playoffs. I really want September. But whatever happens, let's just say it all falls apart next week. And I, knock on wood, I certainly hope that's not the case. But let's just say that it all falls apart next week. What will still be magical about this year is that we literally got to watch the coronation of our city's newest superstar athlete right in front of our eyes. Whatever else happens, this year will always be the year that we realized this kid is everything we thought he was going to be. And I'm not sure if you're aware of some of the numbers. I know there was a big MLB.com profile of Adley Rutschman last week that it was a more analytical look at what exactly it is that he's doing, and I think opened some people's eyes. Because sometimes we think we're seeing something, but we don't know exactly how to define it, right? We've watched Adley Rutschman hit all these doubles. We're like, he's hit a lot of doubles. Does that make him the best player in baseball? No, but it's something, right? What is it that we're seeing? Well, they'll tell you in that MLB.com profile, he's also already one of the top 5 catchers in all of baseball in pitch framing and what's called pop time, which is how long it takes for you to get up and get the ball out on a throwdown to try to get a runner. And it's not just that allows you a better chance of getting those runners out, it's that it helps prevent the runners from running. That's why the pop time stat is important. It's easy to say, well, you've thrown out this percentage of the runners that have attempted to steal. Well, what might be more important is how many guys aren't even attempting to steal because they know how quickly you can get the ball out and get it down to second base. That's why the pop time stat is considered to be so important within baseball. Adley Rutschman, within less than half of a season of being a Major League Baseball catcher, has moved into the top 5 in all of catchers in both pop time and pitch framing. Now, the pitch framing thing to me is very frustrating because a strike should be a strike and a ball should be. It shouldn't be that framing a pitch matters. It would be nice if a strike was just a strike and a ball was just a ball. Hell of a concept. Really flipping the world upside down. It'd be really swell if we could get to that point. But we're not. And so in the meantime, pitch framing matters. And in how you judge a catcher, pitch framing is really important. But as I was digging around on some of the other offensive stats to try to find some things, it was clear that June 15th, there were a couple people tweeting about how his numbers have changed since June 15th. I found a stat from, I think it's called MLB Nerds, about his slash lines since June 15th, 301, 420, and 549. But I went over to Fangraphs, and I went a step further. And since June 15th, Adley Rutschman has led all catchers in baseball in weighted runs created plus, WRC plus, and weighted on base percentage. He's been the best offensive catcher in baseball since June 15th. Adley Rutschman has become everything he was supposed to be, with maybe still some room to improve, right? We would all say that what we've seen from this many doubles makes you think that there could be more home runs coming. Adley Rutschman has become everything he was supposed to be, and I get it. We knew he was supposed to be this, but that doesn't make it a sure thing. Ask everybody in Kansas City how things are going with Bobby Witt. It is no sure thing that the guy that's taken 1-1 or that's scouted as being a surefire Major League star ends up becoming that guy. But Adley Rutschman is becoming that guy right in front of our eyes. And that might prove to be the single most significant thing about this season. That when we get to the end, if the Orioles fall short, the most important part is that we identified the star that we're going to align things around for years to come. And Adley Rutschman is that dude. Right now. It's not worth getting a ticket to the ballpark for a curiosity about Adley Rutschman. It's worth buying a ticket to a game to see one of the brightest stars in all of baseball. And we already know that's what Adley Rutschman is. And he hasn't been playing for even a half a season. It's truly amazing. And it's the secondary thing. Because we're distracted by the team and what the team's doing, I know that we've acknowledged it. I know that we are appreciating it. But I think it might prove to be the most consequential thing that happens in Baltimore in 2022. Is that we now know going into the offseason, there is a superstar. You got a jersey to buy. This guy's not going to be a disappointment. This isn't going to be a guy that came up and we were like, hey, whatever happened to that? This guy is a star. This guy is everything he was advertised to be. He was somehow underhyped, which is impossible because he was the most hyped athlete in the history of the Orioles. He's better than that. It's incredible. So I'm writing about that today at PressBoxOnline.com. Encourage you to check out that column as it gets up. The Ravens were off yesterday. They get back to work. They will play a preseason game on Thursday against the Titans. Griffin's going to go because...
Duh. What do you mean? What do you mean because?
Because reasons. Because I don't know why. Because
be stupid not to.
What do you mean?
I'm missing Baltimore football.
You know there's a baseball game that night.
Yeah, and I'll have updates on.
Sure. I was asked after the radio show yesterday from Dan. Dan said, so I don't even know if Dan, this is the problem. Dan might get his response on this show and doesn't listen to the show. He only listens to the radio show. But that's on Dan. That's not on me. Dan says, Glenn, with the Ravens losing Vince Beagle, what do you think about the chances? I know you keep talking about them potentially adding a receiver, but do they need to add someone else in the edge rush department? I mean, I don't know how much they were counting on Vince Beagle, Dan. If I'm being, I know that he was one of those guys everybody was talking up and everybody but I certainly don't think that he was someone they were making their plans around as being impactful. I think the bigger question in that department, and it's been one of the things I know Bo and I have talked about it a lot. I definitely have, I don't know if concerns. I definitely have questions. Is Odafe Oweh ready to take a jump in his second season? Is Tyus Bowser definitely ready to be back and going by week 1? When is David Ojabo potentially able to be thrown into the mix? What more can you expect from Justin Houston this deep into his career? There's a lot of questions there. Do I think any of them are answered by, Jason Pierre-Paul? No, not a chance. So could they? Sure. They could add another edge rusher. They could add a street free agent. But do I think it would change any of the way we're feeling about the position? Not remotely. Those will still be the more pressing questions. And they can't be fixed by the arrival of someone who's available on August 8th. I guess they're talking to about, I guess they worked out some cornerbacks, and so they feel the need to add another cornerback, given where they are with their depth. Fine. But you're not, the idea of finding a difference maker, the only caveat I'll give to that is at wide receiver, where the guys who specifically might be available because of their health issues could become, and I'm going to use difference maker in quotes, not superstars, but guys that could be helpful. The Will Fullers, the Odell Beckhams. I'm willing to have a conversation about those guys because you have so little at the position and because the uniqueness of their situation is their health. If Odell Beckham was healthy, given what he did when he showed up in Los Angeles last season, he'd be on a roster right now. He'd be employed. He's not, because he's not healthy. So there can be unique situations where adding someone could offer you a little bit more. But right now, as far as edge rush is concerned and what's out there, you want to add one more? Fine. I'm not going to tell you not to. You cleared the cap space that you cleared. Go ahead, sign somebody. But to think that it's going to make a difference, or I'm going to feel, if tomorrow Jason Pierre-Paul was a Raven, I would feel literally everything that I just said about the edge rush, I would say the exact same things. It would not address, it would not provide an answer in any capacity. So That's what you got from me. Okay, now we're into hour number 2 of today's show, and I pull the curtain back to let you know that we had to do this on Friday. Friday afternoon, we had the opportunity to catch up with Austin Hayes. Now, the reason why I tell you that is because there's one question that you probably want me to ask Austin Hayes. When you going to be back? Are we going to see you tonight? And I'm telling you that I wasn't able to ask that because we had to record the interview earlier. But still a really great conversation, an opportunity to catch up with a man who's had a special season, Austin Hayes, right here on GCR. Well, it's been a while since we had an opportunity to catch up with our next guest. And, of course, what a season it's been for him and for the Orioles. Announced last week as the Orioles Heart and Hustle Award winner. And he made an even more significant announcement that we want to talk to him about as well, about a new scholarship. He is Austin Hayes, and he's back with us here on GCR. Austin, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, as always, it's great to be on here. I appreciate you having me.
It's great to chat with you, dude. The Heart and Hustle Award. I know there's like a billion awards that exist, and there's a billion ways for people to say things, but I feel like this one's got to be pretty cool because it's like a way for people to recognize the way that you play and what you give and how all out you're willing to go. Is there something about that that's even a little bit more neat than other honors you might get?
Yeah, this is an amazing award. It kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know like when it was selected or anything like that. So yeah, I was shocked yesterday to find out the news that the MLB PAA had picked me as the Orioles representative, and it just means a lot because I think it just embodies how I play the game.
Right.
The no batting gloves, the going all out, the dives, the just trying to play the game the right way and the way it's been played for a long time, and just go about my business the right way day in and day out. And yeah, it's just it was an honor to be selected to represent the Orioles.
How important is that to you, man? Like that's what Orioles fans can expect from you. That yes, you do a lot of things really well, but the effort side of it, that you're going to give them everything. How important is that for you as a baseball player?
Yeah, it's a lot. We play this game every single day. We get one day off a month. There's a lot of things you can't control playing a game that you play every single day. You can't control the results most of the time. You can do everything right and fail. You can do everything wrong and get a hit. It's just it's a crazy sport that we play, but to be able to show up every single day and just play the game the right way, that's something that you can control. You can always control your effort level, and just giving everything that I have every day to the sport and to this team and the city. Yeah, it's something that means a lot to me, and I think it just speaks to your character when you're able to be selected for an award like this.
There's no doubt, and I think everybody sees it every time you play. Austin Hayes is with us here on GCR. So in general, just because we haven't been able to catch up with you, this year has been kind of fun, huh? Like this has been a decent little time to be a Baltimore Oriole, right?
Oh, absolutely. This team's got a little bit of everything, man. We got 2 guys with 20 stolen bases right now. We got guys hitting homers. We got the pitching, one of the best bullpens in baseball. We got Jordan Lyles going out every 5th day and throwing 120 pitches and just grinding it out. We got young guys, some vets mixed in there. Rugi and Chirinos just bringing a ton of energy every day. So it's a really fun team. It's a fun locker room. We're winning a lot of series this year, so just getting to celebrate and have music playing in the clubhouse again.
The disco lights.
Games. It's been a super fun turnaround, and just really exciting to see this organization turn the corner and be where we are at this point in the season right now.
And obviously, you've been a huge part of it. How special is it for you? As we've seen all the signs. We know what you're capable of being as a baseball player, but I got to imagine this has been sort of the peak so far for you in your career. How special is it for you as you've been grinding to see the rewards and to be able to be a part of something like this?
No, it's great. I was here before the new regime took over, and I wasn't, a big part of those teams or anything. I was up and down in the minor leagues. I was just trying to find my way as a young guy. But I did see how, those teams were winning.
Yeah.
I saw the atmosphere and the culture, and I saw how many fans we had. those games and just how electric the stadium was. So then to turn around in 19 and see how the atmosphere had changed when I made it back up to the big leagues, and then 20 with COVID, it was just a weird season, and then obviously the tough year we had last year. So to see things finally turn back around and get back to where, the Oriole just way was back when Manny and CD and Trumbo and that pitching staff, when all those guys were here, it's fun to see the fans be excited again, and it means a lot for me to just be able to see the change, when it was good to a couple really tough years to now it's turning back around. It means a lot to me, and I've been here my whole career, so I hope I get to stay and see this thing through.
We were hoping for the exact same thing, and we hope that includes the trip to the playoffs this year, which obviously you guys are right there in the mix for it. You referenced that this is where you've been, and you have been entrenched in this community for a long time. And Austin, that's why it was really cool to me to see what you did to announce the Austin Hayes Scholarship. Can you take me through the thought process and why it was that now was the right time, and specifically why it was important for you to make it about a student from Maryland and to have it be something that can honor someone in this community?
Yeah, I felt like it's very important for it to be a student from Maryland, just because I've been up here for 6 years now in the state of Maryland, and this is where I work. This is how I make a living. This is how I provide for my family, is from this state. I live in Florida in the off season. That's where I grew up, and that's where I live when I'm not playing baseball. But most of the year I am playing baseball, and I'm up here, and it's been that way for a long time now. So I just feel like it's important to give back to this community up here, the way I have back home in Florida. So them giving me so much and the ability to provide for my family, I just felt like it's something I needed to do. And I'm talking to my agent. He's worked with bold.org before, and they're the ones that are giving us the platform to be able to set up the scholarship, and then partnering with the Orioles to match my donation has been great, and I'm really thankful for them for their willingness to do that. So it's been great, and I'm looking forward to being able to give that scholarship to a student that doesn't have the means that a lot of other people do, and they're just struggling, trying to find their way to the next level and pay for their scholarship. So to be able to help someone out there, just feels like it's something that I can do, so I should do it.
Was there a reason why it was a scholarship? I mean, there's a lot of things that athletes do in order to try to give back to a community. Was there something that made it for you that said, hey, I really want it to be a scholarship? Was there anything that you maybe happened in your life or something like that made it so that was what you wanted to do?
I felt like a scholarship was important because I ended up making it to the big leagues, but it was a very unknown thing if baseball was something I was going to be able to do.
Sure.
Schooling was always important to me. It was always something that my parents made me put first, and just knowing that school was always there for me. If baseball didn't work out, that was what was going to take me to the next level in my life and give me the ability to provide one day. So baseball was something that I was good at, and it gave me the ability to get an athletic scholarship. But there are people out there that aren't blessed with the ability to be great at a sport, and it's hard to come by scholarships out there. So the fact that my sport has given me the ability to give back to someone and be able to provide a scholarship just based off what God gave me and my abilities, that was something that seemed like that's what I should do. I just felt the calling to do that.
That's awesome, man. I think it's incredible what you're doing. Go.bold.org/Austin Hayes. If you are a young person, if you know a young person that is looking for a little bit of help to give themselves the opportunity to get that education, you can go there right now to apply for the Austin Hayes Scholarship. It's open to students from high school and college in the state of Maryland. Again, go.bold.org/Austin Hayes in order to find out more. Austin, when I saw you announce it, the announcement came before Trey was dealt, and I just couldn't help but think about how it seemed like this is the spirit of what like Trey had been all about during his time here, right? Doing the right thing for the community and trying to lift up people around here. How much of that did you learn from being around a guy like that and seeing how much he prioritized, hey, we need to do the right things for the people here in our community?
No, Trey is a great person, a great leader, a great teammate in the clubhouse, especially me being a younger guy and him being around here for so long. And he was around Jonesy and CD, guys that really gave back to the community. So he learned a lot from them. And it's just that passing of the torch and passing of knowledge and just showing you how to do things the right way and take care of your community that provides so much for you and your family. So, yeah, I learned a lot from Trey, and he was always my go-to guy when I had a question about something or how to do things the right way or how to go about something that's off the field. He was a pro's pro, and he was a big part of just me kind of learning how things are supposed to be done in the big leagues. And
Austin, do you feel any? I don't know if obligation's the right word, but maybe an inspiration to say, hey, look around. It's me now. I'm kind of the elder statesman around here at this point. Now that Trey is gone, do you feel a responsibility, perhaps, to say, hey, we got to step up? I got to be what Trey was for me, what Adam Jones and Chris Davis were for him. I got to be that guy, for whoever it is, whether it's Adley or the next guy, the next kid, Gunner, that comes up at some point. Do you feel a little bit of that?
I don't know if I'm there yet. I think Trey, he's just a great guy, and he was always willing to be himself. And he just went out, played hard every day, and he got to a point in his career where he just became that guy. But he was always himself. So I'm just trying to be me and be who I am on and off the field all the time. And if that leads to what you're talking about, then that's great. But at the end of the day,
you're not going to force
trying
it.
to be myself. Yeah. I'm just trying to be myself and be who I am. And if that's that role, so be it. But I think that's what made Trey so great was he's just himself all the time. And he was a great guy.
I'm imagining like a funny scenario. You walk in the day after Trey, you're like, all right, guys, it's my turn now. It would just be so weird. Everybody looking like, what the hell's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Austin Hayes with us, just another minute or two here on GCR. Austin, the way this city has come to life, you guys have seen some massive crowds. I mean, my God, that Angels weekend was unbelievable. This past weekend, can you describe that aspect of it? It's obviously it's fun for you guys. You like winning baseball games. But as you talk about like establishing that connection with the community and, the difficulties of the last couple of years and the pandemic, what's it meant to see the city come to life around you guys the way that it has this season?
Yeah, it's been amazing. One of my friends actually came up for that series from home in Florida, and he'd never been up here before. He was in the military. But he's out now, and he got to experience basically the season turnaround. I mean, that was one of the most electric series I'd seen here at Camden Yards in a long time. And he's like, "Man, you get to do this all the time?" I was like, "No, that hadn't been that way in a few years, but that was such an exciting series, and for us to play the way we did, and for the fans to support us the way they did, I think it just that was kind of the epitome of like where we're at here now. This organization has turned around. The fans are starting to see it. They're starting to feel it. They're starting to come out and give us that love and support that it just adds to the that culture of the game where it just makes everything more fun when the fans are all in and they're showing up and they're getting behind you. So yeah, that was awesome, and hopefully we have some more.
I was gonna say I'm hoping there's gonna be a lot more. And you referenced something earlier, if I could, and I'm not, I get you don't make decisions. I understand how this works, but the desire to want to see it through, right? Like that you put all the equity in, and now we're here, and it's turning the corner. It sounds like it's a big deal to you. Like you want to be a part of it. You want to be a World Series winner in a Baltimore Orioles uniform in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the goal. When you get drafted by a team, you want to make it to the big leagues and win a World Series with that team one day. That's that's the ultimate goal. So we're starting to see that this team has a real chance to do a lot of damage here this year and the upcoming years. So it's getting me really excited every day to come to the ballpark knowing we got a chance to win every single series. And, it makes the game a lot more fun when you're winning.
There's no doubt about it. It's been an awful lot of fun this season. I can promise you that for every one of us in this community. Of course, it's at the Austin Hayes with 3 S's on Twitter is how you follow him. And again, go.bold.org/Austin Hayes to get signed up and to apply for the Austin Hayes Scholarship, which is a really cool thing. Austin, it's great to catch up with you, man, but seriously, I commend you a big deal. As someone who's from here, a lifer, to see athletes invest in our community and say, this is the place where I want to be and I want to make an impact, I hope you know it goes beyond what you do on the field. It means a whole heck of a lot, dude. So you could hit for the cycle every night for the rest of your life, and I don't know if it'll mean the same to me. Well, maybe that would. But you know what I mean. Like, I don't know that it mean quite the same to me as when you step up and you make that type of investment. So thank you for that, and thank you for taking the time for us this morning. Continued success this year, all right?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, as always. And for anybody out there that just wants to click on the link, I put the link in my bio on my Instagram page. So you click on it, it goes right to the platform with the scholarship on there.
That's perfect. And then, again, on Instagram, it's just Austin Hayes 22, correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
That is correct.
So you can click it right there. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, as always.
Austin Hayes joining us here on GCR. Griffin, did we link up the link to the scholarship itself on our Twitter?
Will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do that. The reason I say that is it's important to know the deadline is August 28th, and the winner of the Austin Hayes Scholarship is going to be announced September 21st. So, again, if you know someone, a high school student in the state of Maryland right now who's trying to figure out how they're going to get this done, and $20,000 for college would go a very long way, then you got to get in quickly. As Austin pointed out, you can go to his Instagram page, and the link is right there, and we're about to put it up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio as well. So you know somebody, you are a high school student that's home for the summer listening. First of all, bless you, because
I think it's any level. If you're in college,
that's true. That's a good point. Thank you. If you're a young person, or maybe you're somebody who's trying to go back to college at an older age, that's a great point, Griffin. It could be anybody at all. This opportunity exists, but you got to go apply for the Austin Hayes Scholarship, and you can do that right now. We'll put up the link, and again, go to Austin's Instagram page, and the link is right there in his bio for you to get signed up for the Austin Hayes Scholarship. As I said, he's had a heck of a season on the field, but taking that next step, showing that he wants to be entrenched in this community, I think that's going to be the powerful takeaway from that conversation. I hope I can stay and see this thing through. That's the line that really jumps off the page at you. We've talked before about the possibility of extending Austin Hayes and extending someone. I keep saying, like, show me who's going to be a part of it. And I know for some people the argument is, well, those guys are mostly still not here yet. That this isn't really the group of Orioles that's going to be the group that we think is going to go win a World Series. That group's going to be Colton Cowser, and it's going to be Gunnar Henderson and Jordan Westberg. I think it's going to have to be a combination of those two groups. Austin Hayes, of course, is arbitration eligible for the next 3 years, so the Orioles are a ways away from having to make a decision about Austin Hayes. And I know that, post-June, maybe you would say Austin Hayes hasn't been a post-All-Star break, really. He hasn't been the same spectacular player that he was before the All-Star break. But I think he's the type of guy that you might be able to go a long way and buy out a couple years. And I like the idea of committing to players. I like the idea of showing the fan base that these are the guys. And you can make other decisions in the future if you need to. If someone else comes along and they're so good that they demand at-bats, they demand playing time, you can solve that problem then. I'm not worried about I can't do the bit where I say, well, look at how well Kyle Stowers is doing at Norfolk. Okay, that's great. I hope Kyle Stowers is a rock star baseball player for years to come. But do I know that? I'm never going to be the type that's making my decisions based on what someone might be in the future. I get it. I'm not saying give Austin Hayes $300 million. He's definitely not Juan Soto. Like, I understand. Of course, you can't get Juan Soto for $300 million. But I think there might be room somewhere in the middle there that it would make sense. Great stuff. Appreciate Austin Hayes taking the time. Okay, today's show is also brought to you by Glory Days Grill, where I keep trying to tell you, at some point you run the risk. Look, they've already kept it through multiple seasonal menus, so there's a chance they're just realizing it needs to be there forever, but not a risk I'm willing to take. As of right now, the starter, the flash fried pork belly with that Korean No. 2 sauce, it is scheduled to go away. And if it does, you are going to regret the decisions that you've made in your life forever. Because I am telling you, hand to God, or whatever you believe in, Buddha, the flying spaghetti monster, whatever you're into, hand to that person, thing, whatever. I will lick the bowl. Or I will take 2 fingers, I will run them inside the bowl and lick those fingers. You can judge me all you want, but you will do the same when you get to your neighborhood Glory Days Grill and you try the opener. It's that good. That good. I'm making Carson Weekly come back. Technically, his internship ended. I'm making him come back next Monday because I want to go to Glory Days Grill. And so I'm saying, hey, Carson, come back. We'll celebrate you. We'll go to Glory Days Grill. You think that's about Carson? I've already forgotten about him. He's nothing to me. It's about me. It's about one. Flash fried pork belly with the Korean No. 2 sauce. It's called the starter. They've got other wonderful things in the summer seasonal menu, but that's the one. That's the biggin'. That's the one. Get to your neighborhood Glory Days Grill or Glory Days Grill, or go to glorydaysgrill.com in order to get your order in. From Joe. Joe says, Glenn, I too was at the game on Saturday night. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't the most memorable game. In fact, there's very few things that I think I'll remember from the game itself within a week. What made it so special was just seeing that many people. To Joe's point, I don't know that anything about the game itself is something that I will particularly remember for a long time. I mean, I'll remember that Austin Voth had a nice start at least until like Wednesday. By Wednesday, I will probably have forgotten who pitched in the game.
Nick Vespi pitched well.
He did. That's true.
Dylan Tate closed it out.
Yep, 100%. All these things are true. They all happened.
I don't typically like taking videos of, when I'm at the game, but for that last pitch from Dylan Tate, I had to take a video of that just to,
with the crowd.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it, man.
It was great.
It was great. It was awesome. Yeah. It was spectacular. If I were to remember something, I would remember the double play, right? Like, that's the most memorable thing that happened during the course of the game. But I get it. I'm not going to. Maybe at the end of the year, somebody will put together
you're going to remember Brett Phillips, hitting one off the wall, right?
I probably will not remember that. Probably will not. I'm not going to lie. That's not likely to be something that I remember all that much. I'm with you. I probably won't remember a lot of things specifically about that game. But, a year from now, it might be what I look back on and say, that was when I felt like it was back. And I know a lot of people would point out the Angel series or whatever series you went to earlier in the season, but there weren't 40,000 people there. There were 40,000. Like, I legitimately looked around, and other than the 3, for whatever, I still don't know why those sections were closed in left field. I still don't get that. That was weird.
I guess to make it look bigger. At one point, I looked up, there were 2 people.
At one point, I wondered if they were trying to gimmick a sellout. Like, that they purposely made the capacity for the night.
I mean, they've been doing that all season, though, so, like...
Oh, they...
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
I'm almost positive that they haven't been seating that 300 level on the left, in left field.
Well, then they could say it's because
maybe they're understaffed. Like, you could say they're understaffed or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, they could say that. They could say, hey, we want to keep those concessions closed. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but it looked amazing. It just looked amazing. I'm gonna remember that. And from Ryan, this is absolutely. Ryan says, Glenn, to your point about there not being any promotions this week, why wouldn't this be the perfect week for them to call up Gunnar? He's on the cover of Baseball America. He was just named the #1 prospect in all of baseball. You're giving at bats to Brett effing Phillips. Well, as Griffin just pointed out, Brett Phillips is coming up big hits. You're giving at bats to Brett effing Phillips. If you really want to drive people to the ballpark, wouldn't that be the best way to do it? You announced later today that his debut will be tomorrow. Give everyone a 24-hour advantage in order to try to get there. Sure. I mean, yes. I can't tell you you're wrong. Like, I can't do that. I can't tell you you're wrong. You would definitely create you wouldn't get 40,000 people. You couldn't get 40,000 people to the ballpark on a Tuesday night with 24 hours notice. You couldn't do that. I don't know that Adley Rutschman would have gotten you 40,000 people to the ballpark on a Tuesday night. But
what did he get, like 20, 30 on a
Saturday night?
Yeah.
Right. And that was less than 24 hours notice. I mean, and it was Preakness Day. So, like, there were a lot of missteps involved with what they did there. If they announced today that Gunnar would make his debut tomorrow, I think you could get 5,000 more people than you would have gotten. And that might be the difference in a 12,000 person crowd versus a closer to 20,000 person crowd, and feeling like there was some life. I mean, that's the disappointment, and I get why Stan tweeted what he tweeted this morning, is that the likelihood is that you're going to have a minuscule crowd tonight. Like, it's a Monday night. That's the way that it works. There's not the Blue Jays are a bit more exciting than other teams that have come in. I know the Rays games, people were disappointed with the crowds for the Rays series. And I'm not trying to say that, like, obviously the Rays are also a good baseball team, but they don't have Vlad Guerrero Jr. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is one of the most exciting players in all of baseball to go out and see. Now, it's also not his first appearance here or anything like that. Like, we've seen him. But I do think that there will be, instead of, say, 9,000, and the Orioles have played well for another couple weeks, I think that there might be more of, like, 11 to 12,000 people there. And you could inflate that number by adding a Gunnar Henderson appearance. Do I expect it? No, I don't. But I also do feel like we're getting to the point where at some point we're going to have to start having this conversation very loudly about Gunnar Henderson and why isn't he here. We come back in. We're going to chat with Jeremy Conn. We do it every Monday from 105.7 The Fan. He's picks every day at PressBoxOnline.com as well. That's next. Glenn Clark Radio. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The biggest pro wrestling stars today and all time all have one thing in common. You've heard them on Jobbing Out.
Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
The great Kurt Angle.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
The champ, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The great Ron Simmons.
Damn.
Keith Lee.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Bill Goldberg.
My pleasure.
Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mick Foley is with us.
This is the greatest name for a wrestling show I've ever heard.
MJF.
I'm glad you're happy I'm on this show because I'm freaking miserable.
Le champion!
Chris Jericho.
Le champion.
AJ, Aaron, Brandon, and Glenn are talking pro wrestling every week on Jobbing Out. Find it at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and it's our very first Salute the Coaches issue. On the cover, we recognize Ravens coach John Harbaugh ahead of his 15th season. Also inside, find tributes to Navy football coach Ken Niumatalolo, UMBC soccer coach Pete Caringi, Maryland soccer coach Sasho Sorovsky, and field hockey coach Missy Maharg, Mount St. Joe basketball coach Pat Clatchy, and Poly basketball coach Kendall Peace. We also honor recently retired Johns Hopkins lacrosse coach Janine Tucker and Calvert Hall baseball coach Lou Eckerl, the athletes whose lives these coaches have impacted, offering insights on what makes them special and why they've stood the test of time. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
To follow the show on Instagram, it's just Glenn Clark Radio. And to follow the show on OnlyFans, wait, I don't think you're supposed to know about that one. Any hoodle, take it away, boys.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. Simply the Bets returns tomorrow morning at 11:40 a.m. We do it every Tuesday at 11:40 as we try to get you ready for the week in sports betting, which includes a full slate of preseason football games. Hooray! But if you want to bet them and you want to win some money, we'll do our best to try to help you out in that capacity on Simply the Bets, which is back tomorrow morning, 11:40 a.m., brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Every Tuesday at 11:40, and then every other Thursday at 11:40, we do Weekend at Bookies, which is also brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, Maryland. So, that'll not, no Weekend at Bookies this week, but that'll return 1 week from Thursday. This man makes his picks available every day at PressBoxOnline.com. You, of course, hear him on the Big Bad Morning Show, 105.7 The Fan. He is our buddy Jeremy Conn, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's going on, dude? How are you?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Everything's all right. I want to talk to you about an egregious thing that occurred. So Reed and I were doing the show yesterday, and we look up at the TV, and I realize, because, you know, when you're doing the show during a game, you don't get to pay full attention to the game. But I look up at the end of an inning, and I say, that still says 0 hits for the Pirates. Well, that's crazy. Then I go to my app, and I realize that through the first 4 innings, Spencer Watkins hasn't allowed a base runner. And during a commercial break, I say to Rita, hey, that's kind of cool. We should probably keep our eyes on that. And then the way that you do, I have fun with it coming back, and I say something like, hey, something's going on, but obviously we can't talk about it, right? Like, not because I actually believe in that stuff, but because that's the fun thing to do, right? Like, yeah. That's what you do. So we had told Coleman that he could come on with us yesterday because I was going to have him on another week. It just didn't work out. And so we're having fun with it, and literally we pull up Coleman, and the first thing he says is, what, that he's throwing a no-hitter? Oh. And I'm not kidding you. Within 2 seconds of him saying those words, Spencer Watkins gave up the first of 4 straight hits that turned into the Pirates scoring 3 runs and then going on to win the game. Now, look, again, I want to make this abundantly clear. I know damn well that we have no correlation. I know these things aren't real. But I also feel like as an entertainer, I'm not really a journalist in those moments. What I do is not that scary important. But I am an entertainer. Our job is to entertain. I feel like that's part of the entertainment is to play along with that silliness, knowing, no, of course it has nothing to do with it, but also knowing that people like that type of silly stuff, and that's the reason why we're not supposed to talk about it. What say ye?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all the superstition. It only matters when it happens, right? The announcer says Justin Tucker hasn't missed a field goal since, the birth of Christ, and then all of a sudden he misses a chip shot, and people are going to blame the announcer. It's the same, it's always those things that you're not supposed to speak about when they happen. But it's like in your mind, and I guess in my mind, it's coincidence, right? Like the fact that you said it then and it happened. But I think that's how people always perceive it, is that, it's that superstitious side of things. And I don't know if you had any. Like, I used to flip one sock inside out when I played basketball in high school because Dan Marley did it. Yeah, and then the Thunder Dan Marley, of all people, that's who I modeled myself after.
Man hit some big shots in his life,
Yeah, hey, I like the one-handed dunks coming in, going up to 2. Yeah. I love Thunder Dan. But yeah, I did that my entire high school career because I felt like it was good luck. It didn't matter if I missed every shot or made every one. So, but I just think people just genuinely have some of those superstitions. And this is one that's a little bit more silly that you can't talk about it. I get not talking about it in the dugout, but like the announcers, it doesn't matter. He's not listening.
Well, okay, so I'm in a weird place, right? Where like the announcers that are calling the game itself, they don't really they have to talk about it, right? Like they have to talk about it. And I think I'm trying to feel it's just, boy, this is tough now. I feel like there are places where you have an obligation, like you have to talk about it. I think here locally, when you're dealing with people that play along with the silliness, like I always walk a fine line between these things. There's times where I think it is my job to bring reality back into the picture, right? Like you guys are being absurd, and I need to try to paint a picture the more reality-driven. There's other times where I feel like it's my job to play into the fun that you're having as a fan base. Like when everybody's going after someone, I might be the guy that steps in and says, yo, hey, what did that guy say that you're actually so hot and bothered about? Maybe settle down and maybe recognize that there's perhaps an amount of truth to what this person actually said.
I'll give you one. So
okay.
I saw this yesterday. So, Mark Unger, I believe, was the one that tweeted it out, or it was either a tweet or a Facebook post. I don't remember, but said if you're a Mets fan, you need to be turning on the game right now as the Mets were playing the Braves. And at that point,
DeGrom, yeah.
DeGrom had 12 Ks through, maybe it was.
He was in the sixth. I think he was in the sixth inning, yes.
And as soon as I turned it on, that's when, he gave up a couple of runs. But,
right.
And then obviously gets pulled. But, he was in the second game back. I don't know that they were going to let him go the distance there or anything like that. So I think he started pitching to contact and got burned. But it was a pretty special moment seeing 12 Ks through like 5 innings where you're going, oh my God, he is just dealing today.
Right.
But you want somebody to mention it because you're not paying attention to that game. So I don't know. But maybe he did ruin it too. It's his fault.
So you tell me, if you're in the same situation I'm in, are you saying straight up, hey, by the way, this guy's throwing a no-hitter, or are you having fun with it? Like, because I feel like we've all kind of worked to the, hey, something's happening, and then everybody knows what that means. So if for whatever reason you were someone who was driving around yesterday that wasn't listening or watching the Orioles game because, I don't know, you just casually watch, you casually listen, and you heard, I feel like we've kind of established code for this is what it means, and everybody can have fun with it now.
I probably do what you do. Like I say it without saying it. You know, like, hey, we're not supposed to talk like that. I mean, Coleman's kind of like a curmudgeon.
Correct.
And as somebody pointed out to me once, if you listen to his updates, like it's never anything positive. It's always something negative. Like the Orioles or the Pirates didn't win yesterday's game. The Orioles blew it. The Bulls lose to the Pistons, and it's nobody ever wins a game. It's somebody always loses it. And I've laughed my ass off since then because every time I listen, it's factual. That's exactly what he does. He's the most negative human being alive.
Oh,
but that's why we love him.
That's you know what? It's so true. It's exactly we need Jerry Colemans in the world. We need people to remind us that someone is more negative than us. So now that we're past everything, right? Like now that the trades have been made and emotionally we've gotten through that part, where are you with the rest of this season? Like where are you with the is it time to call Gunnar up now? Where are you with the how do you go about handling these things? Like I'm in a weird place because, like, Saturday night, dude, it was insane. It was magical being around 40,000 people at the baseball game being like, holy crap, this is real. But I've always tried to be realistic about, hey, the goal for me is not really the playoffs. Like, that would be neat, but I'm not defining this by the playoffs. I just wanted there to be meaningful September baseball and to get that feel, and I had that feel on Saturday night. I mean, it was injected into my veins type of real. Where are you with the rest of the season now that we're past all of this?
Well, I'll tell you where I was just a second ago. You said Gunnar, and then it moved. I got so excited. It moved just a little bit. Like, I'm dying to see this kid. I just saw Baseball America. He's number one on their list, if that article was true. But, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. But I had one of our regular callers called this morning and tried to call me out because back when they were 6.5 games out of the wild card, and he was all excited. I'm like, enjoy the ride. But, to me, it's a little bit of fool's gold. If they make it, in which I'm rooting like hell for them to make it, just so they can shove it up Buster Olney and Bob Nightingale's rear end for their stupid tweets that they have on a daily basis. But I would just love to see it. And I don't have expectations, though. Like, are they good enough to make a run with this group? I've seen stranger things happen, but I don't think it realistically does. And, like tonight, you're Yankee fans because they're playing the Mariners, and then you start watching who's playing the Guardians, and you get your opportunity against the Blue Jays, and they got to hold serve, and
Dude,
it looks like the Red Sox are kind of done, So
I'm not kidding you. When I was in there yesterday, and we had the Orioles game on the center TV and the Rays game on the right TV, and the Rays were scoreless with the Tigers, and the Orioles were up 1-0.
0-0 to the ninth, right?
I was feeling something. To your point, it was moving. Like there was something. Like the thought of the day going to them being in a tie for a playoff spot was making me feel alive. I was so captivated by it. Like it was that real for me in those moments. And that's the exciting part about all this. And again, I'm not going to move the goalposts. I'm not going to get worked up if they don't make the playoffs. I do get the selfishness of, well, hell, we're here. Like, why not, right? Like,
yeah, you've got nothing to lose at this point. And the thing too with the Orioles and where they're at, I've said this before. There's nothing like meaningful games in August and September. There's because you already know football season's around the corner, and you're excited as hell for it because it's king. And then now you get a baseball team that's kind of, now you're watching other things. Like I love on a Sunday where I have to go, am I bringing in another TV so I can put the baseball game on along with the football game? And sometimes where, an Oriole game would outweigh what you're actually going to watch on NFL Sunday, because I think a lot of people are like me with the NFL where it's appointment setting, whether you're watching Red Zone or all the games flipping back and forth. Like there are a lot of people that have no problem being in a chair from Sunday morning all the way to the end of Sunday Night Football, So, and that's kind of how I am.
Yep. I am the exact same way. Like, this is what I'm doing. Ask me what I'm doing on Sunday. I'm watching football. That's what I'll be doing because I only get so many opportunities to watch it. So I'm going to take advantage of every single one of those opportunities every time they come along. Jeremy Conn with us here on GCR. So I don't really care. I don't. This is one of those topics that, like, you have to have in sports radio, but I just care so little about it. Where are you with the, like, do they play any real players at all during the course of these 3 preseason games?
I don't care. It's one of the most necessary evils that we have in sports. It's preseason football, where you got people saying, "Hey, you want to go to you want Ravens tickets?" You get all excited, it's like, "Yeah, what game? It's this Thursday's preseason game, or this, next Saturday's preseason game." We're like, "Nah, I'd rather not." And with the Ravens and what happened last year, like, I would be walking on eggshells a little bit with some of my players, especially, they lost their entire running back room, most of their cornerbacks, offensive linemen. You can just start pointing at all the things that went wrong. And then now they're talking about going into a preseason game and not having enough cornerbacks. So, none of it matters to me. I heard Pat Ricard talk. Was that on your show? Was that with you guys? Where he was talking about, like the streak and everything that's going on. And I understand that it means something to the players, but realistically, it means nothing. Like, if I said to you, how did the Ravens do in the preseason?
0.
In 2012, do you know?
Wait, does it mean something to you as a bettor, though? Does it mean something to you say?
Well, I always said that I want to love something as much as John Harbaugh loves winning.
No doubt.
I want to be as good as something as who was the old Deion Waiters. I want to be as good as something as Deion Waiters thinks he's as good at basketball.
Right.
So things like that. But Harbaugh loves winning even in the preseason. So, the preseason, the only thing I care about is health. That's it. And I know it's very cliche and boring to say that, but there's nothing else to look forward to. Some guy catching a meaningless touchdown pass that doesn't even show up in his accolades at the end of his career. What does that mean?
We're in agreement. We are in agreement. All right. So I should have prepped you for this. You're going to do. Spiro was supposed to come in and sit in with me on Thursday, but he got. I don't think it's the COVID, but it might be the COVID. So he wasn't able to make it, and we weren't able to do this. I don't know if you saw this tweet from a couple weeks ago, but there was a tweet that went viral, and it was someone saying, "I'm so bored, I'm about to rank all of the months." And all I could think to myself is, that is tremendous content. What do you mean you're bored? That's a wonderful thing to do on a Tuesday, to rank all of the months. And so I immediately, of course, did, because I think it's great content. And I had August very low on my ranking of months, and it got people very worked up about the fact that I had August so low on my ranking of months. And I defended it by saying, look, the only month that I think August is better than is January or February, and really I can make an argument that they're not even better than that, because at least I get playoff football during those months, right? I would really say that probably February is the only month I would definitely rank below August. And everybody's very worked up about that, but I stand by it. There's not. I know. I hope you're able to make it. I'm doing a pig roast this year in August. So I'm trying to add a little bit of something, but there's nothing on the general calendar about August that's particularly exciting. It's swamp ass hot outside. I mean, like it's unbearable. When I got to the game on Saturday, I wanted to die for the first couple of innings because they moved the game up to 5:00 before the sun went down. It is pure hell. There's preseason football. Unfortunately, in Baltimore, many of the Augusts that we've experienced have involved really bad baseball, and so we don't have the same sort of like feelings, special feelings about August. I think August is the second worst month of the year. Where are you with August?
Well, first, I want to just let people in behind the wall here. Learning everything is like you can never get too inside, but. You told me you were going to a Smash Mouth concert and baseball players showed up. So I don't know what you mean by going Saturday to that.
Dude, you know. So you know what happened? This is almost an Avett Brothers situation, by the way, that unfolded for me. So I don't know if you know, but I truly love Drew Hill. Like, I have loved Drew Hill. I mean, I get it's a Baltimore thing, but it's beyond that, right? Like, my buddy Brandon, who runs Ramshead, had Drew Hill over there, 5 or 6 years ago, before Brandon and I were very good friends, like when we just were kind of casually friends, and he was like blown away by the fact that I was cry singing along with every effing song. He was like, dude, you really care about this. I'm like, I really care about this, because at Perry Hall High School, everyone knew every word to every Drew Hill song on every record. Like, we care desperately. I literally, as a child, dyed my hair multiple times whatever color Cisco had his hair at the time. Now, I've developed a bit of a friendship with them over the years and have gotten to know them a bit, and they've come on a lot of shows, and Cisco and Nokio have. They're great guys. I did not know, by the way, that Rita worked at the Fudgery and sang with them years ago, which, like, I already thought she was cool. Now she's the coolest person that's ever lived. I adore
Oh my God! If Rita does not sing to me about fudge, we are not friends anymore.
Right.
This
but it's
on
not. You've sang other songs about fudge. This is a different type of fudge. Anyway, so I love Drew Hill. As you know, Smash Mouth to me is a war crime. I have PTSD from losing this bet a couple years ago that required me to go to a Smash Mouth concert. I got the douche chills beyond anything I could ever experience going to a Smash Mouth concert a couple years ago.
You know how bad I want to dress up as Shrek going, aren't you guys the Shrek band? You're the Shrek band, right?
Actually, you know what? So I get there I had to, as you know, I'm very involved with the Helping Up mission. And this week was my week to be there at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning to help out with breakfast. So I had to be awake at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. I also, like an idiot, took the light rail to the game. My gym is in Hunt Valley. I got out of the gym, and we were having David Steele on the show yesterday. I hadn't read any of his book. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll take the light rail so it'll buy me time to read David Steele's book, because I'm the dumbest human being alive and did not realize it was going to take an hour and 20 minutes to get to the game from Hunt Valley. So I, at the end of the game, started doing the mental math, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to stay for Drew Hill. It's not going to work. Like, I have to get at least a couple of hours of sleep so that I'm not in a car accident in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, I'm even doing the thing where I'm looking up what like an Uber would cost instead of getting back on the light rail to cut out some time. And Uber's, of course, because it was like $100. It was just not an option that I could justify. So I realized it wasn't going to happen. I was going to miss Drew Hill. So at that point, I was just going to leave when the game was over, because I knew damn well I wasn't staying for Smash Mouth. But I was there with some friends, and they were trying to coerce me into sticking around for Drew Hill. They were like, we know you want to be here for Drew Hill. Just stay. Even if you only see a couple of songs, just stick around. My night, I ended up watching 5 Smash Mouth songs and no Drew Hill songs. It was the Avett Brothers. Whatever you were feeling that night when you had to leave, I was feeling that on Saturday night. It was my personal hell. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. God, shut up!
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't leave.
They even got a new Smash Mouth guy. It's not the old Smash Mouth guy anymore. It's a new Smash Mouth guy. And it doesn't...
The lead singer?
Yeah, he's gone. Gone, daddy,
what
gone.
happened?
I don't know. I don't know the story. It was some random guy, some karaoke guy was the singer.
Did
for
he sound
Smash
like
Mouth.
them at all?
He was going way too far out of his way to try to say. There was a part of it that was like, hey, the other guy's not good. Like maybe don't just try to replicate him. Maybe try to.
Did it sound like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones trying to do Smash Mouth? Is that what happened?
Not quite that, but I know what you're alluding to.
Yeah.
Dude, it was the most beautiful. And I don't know if you've ever. There's a famous GIF of the guy Big Cat from Barstool, like literally making a shudder. He's shuddering. I don't know what it's about, but it's a GIF that's been very popular. My buddy pulled out his phone at one point because he noticed that I was making the exact same face as I was watching the Smash Mouth concert on Saturday night. It was
couldn't imagine anything worse than that.
Dude, it was.
I tried playing their hits for my wife, and I'm just like, I can't do this. Like
this isn't music. This is nothing. This is nothing. This isn't. God, sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. I just took over for a second there. God.
I never thought I was going to say this. I want to get back to talking about
ranking
months
the months. Ranking the months. Dude, I don't care. It's
I'm going to rank
content.
the days that end in Y.
Okay, all right. Give me your top 3, bottom 3 for months. Top 3, bottom 3.
Well, let me start with the bottom because the easiest one is, and it's funny because the Super Bowl's in February, but it's easily the worst month.
Correct.
It's nothing. Especially when you do sports talk. February is the worst sports month.
Sucks. February's garbage.
Where else would I go?
Plus, there's what makes February all the worse is that the one day you associate with February is the worst day on the calendar year. Like
people are gonna go ahead.
There's just nothing worse than Valentine's Day in the entire on the calendar to start the year. There's no day that you look forward to less. I look forward to August 9th more than I look forward to, you know what I mean? Like it's the worst day of the year because it is a burden. You have to do all of this nonsense and none of it means anything. It sucks. February has to be the last on the list.
All right, so with that, like in what you're talking about with February being the worst month, because Valentine's Day is the most nonsensical holiday there is outside of Easter, where an Easter bunny actually hides eggs. Nothing makes sense about the holiday.
I too am not a fan of Easter. That we are in lockstep.
I would put May in there. I don't like May. It's nothing. There's nothing that stands out to me about May.
So I've always and this is the effed up part is we're not supposed to celebrate Memorial Day, obviously, but yet. I do associate Memorial Day weekend with, like, in the past, the greatness of the HF Festival. And now, even as an adult, I always end up getting together at a pool or getting on a boat or something like that. Like, I do have some more warm, fuzzy feelings about May than I do, for example, August. Not that there's a lot going on in May, but Memorial Day weekend ends up typically being enough of a celebration to me that it probably... It still outweighs some other months.
Well, and then the easy one for me, which most people would be against me, is I would have Christmas and December in there. I can't. I hate Christmas.
Okay, so
I'm like the biggest Scrooge ever.
So look, you're a monster, obviously, but it's a weird bit for me because I think people associate me with love of Christmas. It's one of my favorite things. I start decorating on November 1st. I'm all in.
You don't understand. I have to get on my sleigh and deliver presents.
Right, that is tough for you. Ever since you grew that beard, that is a good point. I totally forgot about
all the presents I give to the bad girls, good boys and bad girls. God. So that just sounded really creepy. I apologize.
What are you doing?
To the baby Jesus.
The strange part for me though, dude, is that what I say is I love the holiday season from November 1st to December 24th. I hate Christmas Day. I like Christmas morning with my kids. Like when it's just my kids, I enjoy that but like all of the other nonsense, like having to go see 6 different families and it sucks. It just the day sucks. And then the way it just all ends, it just comes crashing down. They stop playing A Christmas Story on TBS at like 6:00 on Christmas Eve because they're so sick of it that like it's just over. They're like, be done with it. I'm like, hey, we've got nothing to look forward to now. Like, can we at least maybe drag this out for a day? Could at least we maybe drag this out to the 26th, try to suck a little more joy out of this instead of immediately moving on to the void of just frigid temperatures and suck that's coming for the next few weeks?
See, and I'm weird too because I like cold weather because my 4th month would have probably been June in there where people just love summer. But my 3 favorites, and you'll understand it, are September, April, and March, and they're all for sports reasons. Typically opening day in April. I know sometimes it started in March. You love March Madness because you get the hell away from February. You get sports coming back. You get the basketball tournament, and baseball's right around the corner. In September, you still have baseball and football going on. September to me is my favorite month of the year.
Okay, so these are good months, and I like all the answers, but my number one is going to be November because, one, Thanksgiving Day is the best day. It is the literally the antithesis of Valentine's
Day. If you like your family.
Okay, fine. I mean, like, there's that. Or if you like drinking, and then you can deal with your family after that point.
So I'll tell you about my family. My dad is currently in the hospital with a blockage in his colon.
I'm so sorry.
And
Jesus.
It's okay. He called me this morning, and instead of asking him how he's are, I said, "So I heard your crapper's full. What's going on?" Like that's how we deal with one another.
That's pretty great, actually. Yeah. I do kind of love that. To me,
I didn't say crapper, by the way.
Yeah, I get it. Right. It's you're like Clark Griswold. You just got to check to make sure. Hey, are our esters full?
I asked him if he needed me to come down and check his oil for him. I told him he's about a quart low, but anyway. But that's like I love Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is an amazing. It's a celebration of just gluttony, man. Like it is everything you could ask for. You don't have to bring anybody a present. You don't have to worry about if you forgot about somebody on your list. All you got to do, and by the way, if you forgot you were supposed to bring something, just stop at the store and get like 5 bottles of wine, and everybody's happy. Everybody's good. Like oh crap, I was supposed to bring some, whatever, apple salad. Nobody wants that. They just want you to feel like you're a part of it. Yeah, exactly.
Wine drink.
Get some Boone's Farm. Plus, the other thing that nobody talks about November, as far as the sports month goes, not only is it still football season and you get all the rivalry college football games, which I love so bad, but then throw into that those couple of weeks when college basketball starts, and there's so many great games that they're literally scheduling like Gonzaga UCLA for midnight because it's the only time they
Coaches versus Cancer Classic's always a good one.
Yeah, and there are insane basketball games throughout November, and they're at all like they start at noon because they play all those tournaments. Like you get an amazing basketball game at noon on a Tuesday. There's only one other time all year where you can get that, and that time of the year you don't get football. So I'm all in on November as being the best sports month because of it.
I like that, and that would probably be somewhere in the rankings for me. I mean, realistically, the only month I don't like is February, but it just
sucks. I stand by August. There's nothing to look forward to about August. August stinks. August is a crap.
Well, because you're waiting. You're waiting for September.
That's what I'm talking about. I just need to get the Labor Day weekend already. Get me to Labor Day weekend already, and life can come back.
But to be fair, August is the year's foreplay, right? Because you're just getting ready for September.
I'm way too old to enjoy Jeremy.
Over the close stuff.
Yeah. We're way too old to be into foreplay at this point in our lives.
Wait a minute, it's my favorite part. It takes a lot longer than the actual actions that I have.
You can drag it out for a little bit.
You add that in, it makes me look like a superhero. So,
I made a joke recently. I was like, does anybody remember which one making out is? Like, do you do that with your feet? Like, I'm not sure what that is.
We just had an argument in my family of what hooking up means. Because hooking up to me meant sex, but they were, apparently I was told that it refers to a bunch of other stuff.
But that only matters in the context of, does your wife want to know if you ever hooked up with someone she knows? That's the only reason why that connotation matters. Because I've dealt with that before, where did you ever hook up with her? No. And then I found out you made out with her at a party. Yeah? So what? Like, I met out with Jeremy at lots of parties. I mean, like, what the hell?
That's not weird.
Right. Like, that doesn't...
We're experimenting.
That doesn't count. Like, that's not a thing.
Since I never graduated from college, I'm still in my college phase. I can try whatever I want.
Exactly right. Try anything once. That's the only time that connotation matters. Otherwise, no. Period. Plain and simple. Hooking up is sex. Period. Nothing short of it qualifies. I stand by that. Put that on my tombstone at some point. That's important.
We're in the same boat, which could also mean we were Eskimo brothers if it had another double entendre. So.
Oh, God. What's coming up on the Big Bad Morning Show this week?
Well, we're all back together for the whole week. So, obviously, training camp talk. Hopefully, nobody gets hurt leading into the preseason game. And, I mean, this is a huge series for the Orioles. They're going to get probably, I mean, depending on what you deem, they see Manoah, who I think is the second best pitcher on that team, but he's not an overpowering guy. I don't know what they haven't listed the pitching announcement for Wednesday, but it's a pretty big series if you're trying to stay in that wild card contention. And again, you're Yankee fans for the next 3 games in Seattle too.
By the way,
although I like the Mariners tonight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna root. This is what I've dealt with this over the years. Like when the Steelers are playing somebody, and I'm not rooting for it. I just acknowledge it's best. That's all. Like
Okay.
I couldn't turn the game on and say, "Let's go Yankees."
You deal with the outcome.
Exactly. That's the only way that I can feel about that. At Jeremy Conn 1057 on Twitter. Picks every day at PressBoxOnline.com. Love you, buddy. Talk to you next Monday.
See you, man. Jeremy
Conn, Big Bad Morning Show on 1057 The Fan. Stand by it. The fall months are the best months of the year. Fall months. I give some credence to because of the NCAA tournament.
You don't have October up there?
That's a fall month.
Okay. Yeah, no, but like, you didn't actually list it.
But the fall months
to
me are the best. November, September, October, best months of the year. The weather's perfect. God, the weather is. It's everything you could ever ask for. I'm romantic about all the dumb things like the colors. I get so romantic about it. I get romantic about going to all the like the pumpkin patches and all the like cider farms and stuff like that. Like it's my favorite thing in the world to do, to take my kids and they can go jump into some leaves and stuff. And everybody puts out like dumb slides. They're like not even all that better than a slide that you could have at home, but you don't care because it's fall and you just want to do fall crap. You're like, I'm going to go to this place because they've got slides. And my wife's like, well, we've got slides too. Shut up, lady. These slides are at a pumpkin farm. Well, like, okay, but we've already got a Shut up! They sell cider there.
Ooh.
We can get cider at the store. Shut up! Do you get apple cider donuts? No, you don't even eat donuts. Come on! I'm doing all of them. I'll go to Weber's Mill. I'll go to what's the one down in Gambrels or wherever that. I'm going to all of them. I go to every single damn and corn mazes. Who doesn't love a corn maze? Fall is the S. I am the most basic white girl that has ever lived.
I have to agree.
Is everything.
I have to agree. College football. I mean,
college football
just
it's all of it.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
But I kind of did forget about November. Like you bringing up the college basketball
Dude,
matchups that they had.
Everybody.
I mean,
people
those are pretty crazy.
People sleep. They load them up in November. They load them up.
That's why February is not too low. I mean, it's low, but like it's not too low because you still have college basketball. Like every team's.
It can't
turn
redeem.
it on.
Can't redeem
for conference tournaments. Ooh,
it can't
conference
redeem the crap Valentine's Day and the weather sucking. Like you can't do anything about that.
Yeah,
you can't get over.
I have January pretty low, I think, along with May.
But January, you at least get the football playoffs.
Yeah, but there's like less teams playing, so that for me it's just kind of and it's cold.
I understand what you're saying.
It's light out for about 5 hours.
But yeah, the weather's the whole thing. But the games are good.
Yeah,
and you anticipate them every week. Every week you do get excited for just sitting down, like because you're not going out because it's 3 degrees outside. So you're just gonna sit down and like have a bowl of chili and watch football. And you're like, you know what? That doesn't sound that bad. Like I'm not trying to say that I enjoy January. I most certainly do not. January sucks. It's garbage month. But
I think July might be the worst.
Hang on a second.
July could be at the very bottom for me.
The very bottom.
Yeah, July.
Okay.
May's not high.
So my list: November 1, October 2, September 3. This is where I made a mistake when I made my list. And when we were going to do the segment with Spiro last week, I would have altered it. I put December way too high on the initial list. I had December.
I love December's great.
I love December.
I like bowl season. Bowl season's
I should
great.
probably have March ahead of it because I truly love the tournament. I get the warm fuzzies every year when the tournament
I think
comes
mine's
back.
October, March. Those could be interchangeable. I don't know.
You mean as your top 2 months?
Yeah.
That's bold. There's no Thanksgiving in either of those
I know.
months. I'm not
I
sure
know,
if
I know.
you're aware. I still want Spiro to come in, and I want to do a full-fledged version of this. Like, I really do want to do this because I know we kind of blew it all out right
yeah,
here.
All right, well, stop.
All right, stop. Because I would like to still have Spiro in to do this at some point because it's my favorite thing. All right.
But Tyler Linderbaum.
I saw that.
That was the.
Thanks a lot.
When Jeremy said that and I cringed, I was like, oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know any more real details about it yet, but this is from Ian Rappaport this morning. Tyler Linderbaum, recurrence of a Liz Frank injury, suffering a sprain, not a rupture. I'm not sure. By the way, is that what?
I think a rupture. Is that what you meant?
Rupture, not a rapture. I'm like, is that the word? It
rupture,
does. It does. He did say rupture. I read it wrong. I was like, rapture? Really?
Because Rappaport was tweeting.
That's probably what it was, is that I put those two things together. Suffering a sprain, not a rupture. Per me and Mike Garafolo, more tests are coming. So we still don't know, definitively what that means.
Yeah.
But it ain't good. We know that much. There's nothing good about that. If you're looking for a positive spin, McCarry's your backup plan, obviously, at center. The problem is McCarry was looking like he was going to be your backup plan at left guard. So does this default the job at left guard back to Ben Powers? Look, hopefully this is not that big of a deal and we can deal with it. Tyler Linderbaum will be ready to play by the time the games are real, but there's no getting around it. You don't like seeing that. From Ian Rappaport, Tyler Linderbaum, recurrence of a Liz Frank injury, suffering a sprain, not a rupture. So hopefully that means it's not long-term, but, sprain, not
That's
great.
the foot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
So.
Not great. All right, when we come back in, we will get a tidbit. We will get two-bit to wrap it up for a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Visit Howard County presents the 2022 Major League Quidditch Championship, a Harry Potter-inspired, real-life, full-contact, mixed-gender, 12-team Quidditch tournament happening at Troy Park in Elkridge, August 20th through the 22nd. For tickets and more information, go to visithowardcounty.com. Maryland, be open for it.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The 2022 baseball season is in full swing, and the future is brighter than ever for your Baltimore Orioles. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
And together we bring you the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon with everything you need to know about the Orioles and baseball as a whole. From veterans like Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, and Ryan Mountcastle,
to young stars like Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, and DL Hall.
We've got you covered for every game, every pitch,
and every debut.
You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. So join us live on the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Summer is in full swing, and so is the summer seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash fried pork belly with their popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and try their South Carolina barbecue chicken, or backed by popular demand, the lobster roll with grilled corn. Also try the irresistible crab and lobster fries, or the very berry salad with chicken. And for dessert, the Cracker Jack sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be gone. Find out more and get your order in at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
It's statistically proven that the show sounds better if you're not wearing pants. Like me, right now. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
We've been talking a lot about the Maryland State Athletics Hall of Fame. The University of Maryland just announced today their Athletics Hall of Fame class for this year. Very impressive group, including Katie Bam, the former Katie O'Donnell, the field hockey player, Dominic Berger from track and field, Bob Grossman from baseball, Sasha Newmarch, women's lacrosse, someone who I actually don't really know but feel like I know, and I've talked to her a couple times, Caitlin Phipps, former Caitlin McFadden, who was a women's lacrosse superstar there and whose mother is one of my best friends and my partner over at Stevenson. Hudson Taylor from wrestling, Christy Tolliver, of course, who once upon a time hit the biggest shot in Maryland women's basketball history, the three that forced overtime against Duke in the national championship game. Taylor Twellman, the men's soccer program, who, of course, went on to play for Team USA and had a great career in the MLS and is now an analyst on ESPN. And the headliners from this group, probably Vernon Davis, who had damn near close. I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer, but had about as close as you can get. The Hall of really, really, really good in his NFL career. and then some other fellow you might have heard of named Gravis Vasquez, who will go into the University of Maryland Athletics Hall of Fame this year. So they just announced their class today. All right, we are winding down for Monday edition of the program. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box. So here's the deal. We are in the final days, about one more week for you to pick up the Salute to Coaches issue, which is available at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of those hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. It's got John Harbaugh on the cover, and we recognize inside 9 area coaches who have either recently surpassed or who are approaching milestones, who recently retired, high school, college, professional level. It's an incredible group, and the athletes whose lives they impacted the most were the ones who were telling their stories. So I encourage you to go get that issue right now because it's going to be gone, Daddy gone, the love is gone here in just a little bit more than a week. And when that happens, there will be a new issue hitting newsstands with Mark Andrews on the cover as we get ready for the start of Ravens season and recognize the way that Mark Andrews has become a full-fledged superstar in the NFL. So that's coming. Be prepared for that. The one with John Harbaugh on the cover will be moving off, and Mark Andrews on the cover coming in about a week. So that's what's up with the print issue of Press Box, available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms. All right, so what you got for us?
All right, so everyone saw that video that the Mets put together of Edwin Diaz entering the game yesterday, and just the whole event that they put together now as Edwin Diaz comes out to the song "Narco" by Blaster Jacks.
It's cool. It's the whole thing is very cool.
Yes. So he's of course he's probably he is the best reliever in baseball this season. Might even need to throw him at the end of the year. We'll see what happens. Throw him in the conversation of one of the best seasons of a closer of all time as he picked up his 26th save yesterday. He struck out all 3 batters he faced and lowered his ERA to 1.39. And he now has 91 strikeouts in 45 innings pitched this year.
It's pretty good.
It is very good. He leads the league. He leads all relievers with a WAR of 2.3. So Glenn, I want to know if you know who else is at the top of the league in WAR for relievers. I want to see how many of the top 10 you can name.
Really?
Yes.
This is so random.
We got to know your top relievers
no,
in the game
I don't.
right now. Yes,
no,
you do.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
It's gonna matter when we get to when the Orioles get to the playoffs.
Did I see that Jorge Lopez blew a save last week?
He blew. Yes, I think he blew one.
Maybe it was on.
The first game he pitched in, he got a save.
Did he blow the save on Friday night after we had him on? Because I think somebody was trying to give me crap about it. Like maybe it was a
that might have been
because normally we talk about the GCR bump. A lot of guys get the GCR bump.
Norby is still red.
But I believe somebody messaged me over the weekend and was like, maybe it was the GCR curse or something like that. And I was like, well, wait a second.
Well, we'll see. Maybe it's a major league, minor league thing.
Okay.
We'll have to see what happens to Austin Hayes.
So, but is it Jorge Lopez?
Jorge, the save. Checking it now. I believe it actually.
No, but I mean, is he one of the ones?
He is 16th. 16th in WAR. 1.3 WAR this season. He is 16th.
16th.
Yes.
Okay.
Think. So they're not all closers.
They're not all. God, now there's even less of a chance that I'm going to get.
I think you should be able to get it.
He's a kid in Milwaukee.
Top 4. Yep, there you go. He's one of them. What's his
Devin
name?
Williams.
There you go. Devin Williams is number 3. 1.7 WAR this season.
End of list.
You should. I think you can get the top 4 here.
Sure. The King.
Yep,
King
there you go.
New
Michael
York.
King, also 1.7 up in New York. I believe he's on the IL though right now.
You're telling me. I'm guessing it's not Josh Hader.
No, not Josh Hader. He fell very low after what he did in San Francisco.
Is it Clay Holmes from the Yankees?
Clay Holmes is not in the top 10.
Okay.
He is in the top 19, 1.1 WAR this season.
I'm not sure I'm going to get the other one.
He is a National League Central team, first place.
So the Cardinals.
Yes, the Cardinals closer.
I'm not sure.
Has a .79 ERA this season.
I believe you, bro, but
Yeah.
I'm just not. I haven't had no reason other than the one series they played against the Orioles, and again, that was back before I had any idea the Orioles were going to be good. So I'm not sure I watched any of that series. I don't.
Ryan Helsley, 2.0 WAR.
You know what? I did know that.
Yes.
Never mind.
And then there are 2 more closers in this top 10 that I think you should get.
Sakes.
One of them was dealt.
One of them was dealt.
Yes. He actually has the second most amount of saves this season. Edwin Diaz is only third right now with 26.
Really?
Yeah. Hader has 29. And this guy has 28, and he was traded to Milwaukee in that Josh Hader deal.
Oh, God, I do know this. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Oh, God. It's oh no, oh God.
From San Diego to now Milwaukee.
Rogers?
Yes.
Rogers.
Which one? Do you know which one?
No, I don't.
They're brothers, Tyler and Taylor. Taylor is
okay.
number 7 with a 1.4 WAR among relievers this season,
right.
and then number 6 you should also get a American League Central team going head to head with the Orioles every single night.
I don't know who their closer is in Cleveland. Who's the closer
Really?
in Cleveland?
Manuel Clase.
Oh, okay.
Guy throws like 100, 1.5 WAR, and then number 5 is one of the Atlanta setup man, AJ Minter, 1.5.
Oh, actually, you know what? I it's really funny you said that. I was thinking about AJ Minter.
Oh.
I know that's gonna sound crazy. I really was thinking about AJ Minter.
Rounding out the top 10, Brock Burke in Texas, Jason Adam in Tampa.
Knowing random relief pitchers is just not.
That's fun. It's fun thing
it's
to
out
do.
It's out of my
Good,
life now.
It's a good pass on. Felix Bautista is
life.
24th with a 1.0 WAR.
All right. Well, maybe that'll continue to go up. Maybe that'll be the case moving forward.
And then Sino Perez, and when you look at when you're nitpicking these stats here, his RA9. So
If
runs,
there's something I enjoy doing, it is
Yeah.
picking nit. I do love picking some nit.
RA9. His RA9 WAR is 2.0, which is 5th in the league. Sino Perez.
Okay. Well, that's not nothing.
And then Felix
I'll take
Bautista
it.
is top 12
I'll take it.
in that stat.
Okay.
Jorge Lopez
I
is
like
top
it.
17.
I like all of that. By all means. What's the difference? Remind me what the difference is.
So RA9 is runs allowed
Over
9
nine
innings.
innings,
And then
right.
I guess they convert that to WAR. So Helsley is number 1 with
Okay.
2.5. Diaz is only 3rd in that category.
All right. Very good. Very good. Let's get Tubular. Tubular is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. It is the place to be for every game during football season. So you guys probably are starting to think about, like, hey, where do we go to watch Monday night games? Or where do we go to watch Ravens games this season? I'm telling you, you'd rather be in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, because wherever it is that you're planning on going, whether it's your buddy Jim's basement or his man cave, or whether it's your, local neighborhood hangout spot, they might be lovely places. But what they're not is a place where you can go and win money. And if there's anything that you probably would be able to win money on, it would be like the thing the best, it's the Ravens game. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of pointing that out. So make plans right now. Email events@sportssocialmd.com. Say, hey, a group of us, we've always gotten together to watch games, and we were thinking about it. We were thinking about where it is that we should hang out to watch Thursday night games this year. We were thinking about, by the way, don't forget, Thursday night games will not be on TV. So if you're like me and you live in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to be able to watch Thursday night games on TV, which is a real problem. I haven't I just kept not thinking about it for long enough. And now I'm like, oh my God, this is real. Like, I'm going to have to watch Thursday night games on my iPad. Like, that's the reality of it for me. It sucks. Because we don't get internet where I live. People don't understand that. Like, people think that, like, that's not a real problem when people talk about it. It's a real problem. I do not live, like, in a really rural area. I live in a more suburban area that fringes upon rural, but it's just enough that I do not have access to internet.
So you will be there. You'll be at the Live Casino.
I think that would be a great place for me to be on Thursday nights, to hang out, watch the games, bet on them. Email events@sportssocialmd.com in order to reserve your spot. Here's what's coming up. Totally tubular this evening. As I mentioned, the Orioles open up a series with the Blue Jays. Kikuchi and Lyle, 7 o'clock on Masson. Masson 2, Nationals, Cubs at 8. MLB Network, Giants, Padres at 9:30. God, was there anything more inevitable than, like, all the excitement for the Padres just for them to get their asses handed to them to the Dodgers this weekend? Like, it's the most inevitable thing. Although I did love Manny Machado's quote afterwards.
Yeah,
They're like, are you worried about how you match up? No. Why? Because I'm Manny effing Machado. Love that. It's Little League Baseball. I hate Little League Baseball week on ESPN. I hate it. And now I'm at an age where I just ignore it. Like, I don't have to just watch ESPN for the sake of watching ESPN. I hated it because it's so uncomfortable. You're watching children. Like, I get it. It's neat for them. I'm happy for them. But, like, I don't. It's stop. It's a whole different thing.
Kenny Singleton's son be on there? Do we know?
Oh, I don't know if they made
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Guess we have to find out.
NBA TV, New York Liberty and Dallas Wings at 8. The USA Network for WWE Monday Night Raw tonight at 8 as well. Non-sports highlights?
Not a whole lot unless you're a Bachelorette fan. Episode 5 of that. More American Ninja Warrior. Nothing. Ashton Kutcher is on Bear Grylls. He's doing Running Wild with
Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah. What? Ashton
Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher.
Anyway, go ahead.
Better Call Saul, penultimate episode of that tonight on
Okay.
AMC at 9. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, you're watching the Oriole game. Idris Elba is on Fallon for that Lion movie.
Oh, right.
Beast.
Yeah.
Where
It
I
looks
guess
crazy.
he's just gonna be
It does
sta-
look crazy, yeah.
He's going to be standing on the car, just pointing the sniper
I'm
at the
good with
lion
that.
the whole time.
I'm good with it. Anything else?
That is it.
All right.
That
very
is
good.
it.
Very good. Thanks today to Jeremy Conn. Thanks also to Austin Hayes, as well as Darryl Hill. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. On the program tomorrow, I did some guest booking for tomorrow. Ryan Ripken's scheduled to join us tomorrow, who recently announced he was retiring, kind of shifting in his professional life. Jason Reed from ESPN is going to join us, talk about his new book, Rise of the Black Quarterback. I've read a few chapters, including the Lamar Jackson chapter in there, so we'll talk to him about that, stuff and things as well. I think Jamie Kaiser is going to join us tomorrow, who committed to Maryland. I believe that's the case, trying to nail down a time with him, so I believe that'll be tomorrow. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, the Costas Inn, Great 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Visit Howard County, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Thanks to Ryan at RexSpexRyan. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.